as you wanted to in the Axe game, but look at kind of what you did, and can you build off of that and see where that takes you? And can you take momentum into the future? Now, also, we have to remember that it's not just the direction of the program that these players are considering, but the direction for themselves too, as far as, do I feel like I'm going to get an opportunity with, like a Tretch? Like, do I have an opportunity with a quarterback that I think can get me the ball consistently, right? Because that position is up in the air into the future, and there wasn't necessarily that this year. And obviously injury played a role in that and has in recent years. But I think that's what that's what these players are considering. Do I have a better opportunity possibly somewhere else if you're a wide receiver that a quarterback can get me the ball more often than what happened in 2025 for the Badgers?
Yeah, that's the thing. Now, again, he's left before and come back. So,
yeah,
we shall see. And it's funny that there's a linebacker at Tennessee who was a Badgers commit who went to Tennessee, and he was their number 2 linebacker in their class, and he played a year at Tennessee, and now he's in the portal. Could he come back? That's what you're going to see, is guys like commit to a place, not go, and then go, or you're going to see guys leave a university and then come back.
And that's because it's a free-for-all.
It is.
They have more, autonomy, so to speak, than NFL or Major League Baseball players. They do.
So we spoke to Jim Polzine the other day, and we talked a little bit about the larger picture, and we were talking about the college playoff and stuff, but you knew this was coming. And I know that the Badgers are ticketed to have kind of a record, portal class in football. And now this creates more openings, because they only had, they sign 12 or 13 guys on signing day for freshmen coming in.
Right.
So they're going to be shopping.
Yeah. I mean, if your inbound class is better than your outbound class, I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's kind of the hope. Like, okay, it's tough to lose these guys, and especially guys you've put time and years into. But if you can go out and recruit and get better players, and say your class coming in is better than your guys going out into the portal, then I think you're going to call it a win in this day and age.
We're almost, should have like a bell to ring or a sounder or something.
Oh boy.
Because now receiver Joseph Griffin is also transferring after 2 years with Wisconsin, but he was hurt a lot. He, redshirt junior, sat out the 2024 season, and he played a handful of snaps early and then was hurt. And now he's transferring too. He's a 6'4", 210-pounder from Springfield, Massachusetts. He has 1 year of eligibility left, and he's headed for the portal.
Wow.
So
gotcha.
Yeah, he had played, and he was a transfer in from Boston College, so he'll be on his 3rd school.
That's the thing too. Bounce.
Donald Driver's son, Christian, started at Penn State, transferred and portaled to Minnesota, and now he's going to head for his 3rd school.
Wow.
I don't know, man. That's not good. It's not a good experience for players.
No.
It's not
Is the grass always greener? Not sure it is.
And are we, we've entered this weird gray zone of, is this good for the game? Is it good for the kids? Is it good for anything? They got to get their arms around this. But anyway, that's a discussion for another day. When we come back, Packers coach Matt LaFleur met with the media earlier today at 1265 Lombardi Avenue. We're going to play that. And then we're going to catch up with our pal Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers, live from Lincoln, as they're getting ready for an 8 o'clock tip tonight. He and Butchie, the Prince of Popcorn, Brian Butch, will be sitting courtside and calling the first kind of true road game for the Badgers in this championship season. That all lies ahead, and it's Hot Take Hump Day. So if you've got hot takes, holstered up, 877-794-1973 is your ticket to the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. You got Drew and Hunter. Dobie Maxwell warming up in the bullpen will join us later in the week. Andrew Ludwig's going to be popping in. It takes a village, but we really value your input and interaction with the program at 877-794-1973. It's Drew and Hunter.
I got no rules, I count 'em.
Fox on Tech. Wall Street is betting big right now that everything you buy and sell, from gold to real estate, will all soon be tokenized, ending slow paper-based trading, moving into the future of 24/7 instant digital trading. Like trading stocks, you own a piece of real estate or gold, for example, but it's bought using stablecoin, and you can do it anytime, day or night. Right now, buying a bond takes about 2 days to finalize But Wall Street leaders like BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Citi are all preparing, building a tokenized stock exchange to handle these instant trades. However, the U.S. isn't the first country to look to break into this. France unveiled the first ever tokenized stock exchange, calling it the Lightning Stock Exchange, leaving many U.S. crypto advocates frustrated. Here in the U.S., the Genius Act, signed into law by President Trump this year, creating a regulatory framework supporting stablecoins, a key digital asset in tokenization. With Fox on Tech, Darren Botello, Fox Business.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Elton John songs that you thumbed up. Number 3, Tiny Dancer.
All the clothes are tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Baby darling, she's so blending.
Number 2, Rocket Man.
I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a rocket man, burning out of fuse out every home.
Number 1, Benny and the Jets.
She gotta let me booze. I'm gonna have food. You know I'm better than a magazine. No. Benny and the Jets.
Hear more from Elton John and similar artists now. Search for Elton John on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1975.
In June of 75, the Bee Gees released the LP Main Course, featuring a more dance-oriented sound, and delivered 3 hit singles, including the number 1 Jive Talkin'. In July, Fleetwood Mac shake things up. They add Americans Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks to the lineup and have a number 1 album. And Wings released the album Venus and Mars, which goes to number 1. Their U.S. tour features Paul McCartney's first live appearance in the U.S. since 1966.
I love is fine for all we know. For all we know, our love will grow. That's what the man said. So won't you listen to what the man said? He said.
In August of 75, the Eagles' 4th album goes to number 1 and has 3 top 5 singles, including the number 1 title track, One of These Nights. And the boss, Bruce Springsteen, is featured on the cover of Time magazine, and Born to Run becomes his breakthrough album, reaching number 3 in the U.S.
Come on with me, chance like us. Baby, we were born to run.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
Whoa, back Betty, bam, bam, whoa, back Betty, bam, bam.
In June of 77, Ram Jam have a top 20 U.S. hit single with a cover of Leadbelly's song Black Betty. Chicago area rock band Styx have a U.S. top 10 album Grand Illusion, including the top 10 single Come Sail Away.
Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me.
In July of 77, the Grateful Dead veered towards progressive rock, adding strings, horn, and a choir on their 9th studio album, Terrapin Station.
Terrapin in the whistling screaming, Terrapin.
In August of 77, the King dies. Elvis Presley's found dead in his home in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 42. Detroit rock vocalist Iggy Pop releases his 2nd solo album, Lust for Life. It's his 2nd collaboration with David Bowie. New York's Billy Joel releases his 5th album, The Stranger. It goes to number 2 in the U.S., with the single Just the Way You Are rising to number 3.
I want you just the way you are.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
Rolling through a Wednesday in the Goodland, Drew Wilson, Hunter Baumgart, bringing it to you from headquarters. NicoletLaw.com talking text line is open, 877-794-1973. Calling on Audible at the line of scrimmage. We'll hear from Matt LaFleur later in the program. But on deck, the voice of the Badgers, Matt Lepay, is going to join us live from Lincoln, getting ready for Badgers Cornhuskers this evening. The Badgers women's team already prevailed today with a convincing 74-46 victory over the University of San Diego. The Toreros came to town, and it was an education day. It was a school kid game. Interestingly enough, we've talked to our pal John Greenberg, president of the Milwaukee Admirals. They do those several times a year at home and on the road. It's a great thing, and it's a good crowd, and especially for women's basketball, minor league hockey, you get the youthful enthusiasm, you get the noise. I know our friend Jim Polzine was covering that game, and he's writing a column. And the Badgers, the women's basketball program at Wisconsin has not been good, for about a generation. It's been a long time, and they are now 8-3 on the season.
There you go.
And I know Polzine posted this, and it's funny because anything that happens when any team that I've seen this before, any team that's playing a game and there's a lot of kids in the stands, high school, doesn't matter, college, they have this education game, and the Badgers, they scored 74 points. So you know what that means, Hunter?
What?
At a certain point, they passed or landed on the number 67. And the place went up for grabs. I've seen this before. Kids just live.
That's amazing.
For that 6-7 thing. Last night, Nick Saban went into the College Football Hall of Fame, and he's at the podium, and he did a little 6-7 celebration because his granddaughter told him to, and he did it.
Just it's the craze.
It's in the dictionary now. It's the craze that has, it's the pet rock of gestures and, nothingness. It's just dumb.
Right.
But I'm here for it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. If the kids get a kick out of it.
Anytime somebody has 67 in the score, or any time that it can be applied, anybody who's 6 feet 7 inches tall, it is a cause to celebrate. So anyway, kudos to the Badgers women's basketball team for winning that game. And what was the stat you were telling me? How great it was in Wisconsin sports across the board, like even on the weekend and stuff. And
it was like they went, last weekend? It was like 9-0 or something. I mean, incredible. Also, here was the call on the game in Madison when they hit 67 points.
Let's hear it. Listen to that crowd.
On the ball there.
There we go, Reed. Yeah. Listen to that crowd as they scored 67 points. Oh my goodness. We get the kids interested and invested in okay. What's the temperature in our studio, by the way? Might be 68. Might be 67.
That's true.
Our NicoletLaw.com talking text lines open for you, 877-794-1973. We had a report from our pal Todd Rosiak. The Brewers did nothing. They didn't add anybody or lose anybody in the Rule 5 draft today. But they did lose Hedbert Perez, infielder.
Oh, Dave Gaspar probably not too happy. He was head of that peninsula, I believe.
Yeah. Sorry, Gaspar. Right now, let's swing it to Lincoln, Nebraska, and let's welcome our pal Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers. Matt, how are things in Nebraska today?
I'm doing well. Am I? Do I look tilted to you here?
Wait,
I'm not quite sure why it's tilted.
We are good now.
Okay, now we can hear Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well. Do I look tilted on the old screen here? I don't
Yeah,
know what happened there. Not
Yeah, I
quite
don't
sure
know,
how
yeah.
that happened. It just all of a sudden you clicked over. So just kind of, we'll do it this way.
We'll spin our heads this way. That's actually it's
it'll be
kind of
perfect.
cool.
Yeah,
It's kind of
this is different. Yeah, I'm doing planks.
You're doing planks. You're Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling.
This is great.
Absolutely.
That's
Let's
a
just
classic.
roll it.
So big game tonight. First true road game for the Badgers, although that one they played in Utah was a road game, right?
Yes.
For all intents.
Yeah, it was. This is going to be a pretty good atmosphere. Nebraska is interesting. It's never won an NCAA tournament game. they've gotten there, and they've had some good teams. They've had great moments, and they're 9-0 and ranked for the first time in about 7 years right now. So this is the people here will support you. They've always had good atmospheres at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and I think this is should be a pretty good environment tonight.
When Nebraska basketball is good, that's got to be just like from the heavens, because it gives you something to do in Lincoln in the winter, other than women's volleyball.
It does. Yeah, women's volleyball is pretty good, and it gives them a diversion from wondering what's up with football, because football is still the king here, even though they haven't been all that for quite a while. A lot of people wondering what Dylan Raiola is going to do. There's rumors out there, and because we got to have rumors about everything, especially in college football with free agency 24/7, 365. But yeah, I do think it's a good arena. And Fred Hoiberg, the former Bulls coach, among other stops, he's got something going here with this program. So I think this is another good test here for Wisconsin, coming off a really, a pretty convincing win against Marquette on Saturday and Northwestern before that. But this will be a little different environment from what they've faced this season.
I was telling Matt, I was telling Hunter that both teams coming off victories against their in-state rival. Nebraska took care of Creighton, and Wisconsin took care of Marquette. I didn't realize that was the biggest point spread. It was the biggest win in the series for Wisconsin since 1952.
Yeah, it was a while. It was it was just a dominant game. I thought briefly Marquette got it down to 11 in the second half, and they weren't making free throws, but they never got it to single digits. Wisconsin got it to double digits for good with about 6 minutes or so left in the first half, and it was a real choppy start, both sides. It'll be interesting to see Marquette. Will it get better? I mean, the two freshmen guards in particular with Nigel James and Adrian Stevens, they've got a little something there. Chase Ross had a bad day. I don't know how many bad days he's going to have. Probably not very many. But Wisconsin, it played really well. And I think after being humbled out in San Diego against TCU, the last two games they've cleaned up the mistakes from that game, and we'll see how that carries over tonight. But I think we have seen how good Wisconsin's good can be. Now it's just a matter of having a lot of nights like that.
This was one of those games where John Blackwell scored 30, but I couldn't take my eyes off Andrew Rohde and what he was doing, making shots and making plays. And I know there's going to be nights like that. And man, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, the guy scored 30 and he's the story of the game, but I liked watching the kid from Brook Central.
Yeah, he had a game, a 9-assist game recently. The way he defends. I asked Greg after the game, what have you learned about Rohde? I mean, you brought him here for a reason, and he just sees him as someone being even better defensively than what he thought they would be. Now, being at Virginia, particularly 2 years ago under Tony Bennett, you're probably going to learn how to guard people. But Greg joked that was not maybe a strong suit of Andrews coming out of high school and in the early portion of his college career when he was at St. Thomas. And then, it's an easy highlight when you hit a logo three, right there in the Culver's logo. That was a pretty deep shot against Marquette. So that gets you the instant highlight. But he just seems like, guys, he does a little bit of everything well. Guards, defends, distributes, and he shows, obviously showed the ability to shoot it. He's a fun player.
Of the backcourts you've seen, I think the Badgers are going to give a lot of teams matchup problems with the duo that they're throwing out there.
Yeah, and really the trio at times, because they can run Rohde at the point a little bit, and then you got Boyd with just a different gear. He just has the ability against a lot of teams in situations just to break him down off the dribble, get to the rim. He can get to the free throw line, as does Blackwell, because he's taken about 8 foul shots a game so far, John is. So, yeah, they've got some versatility there, and John being off the ball, more, that's been good for him. But they have all three of those guys, can put the ball on the deck and can create some problems.
What's the outlay tonight for the European Union aircraft carrier that they have? Their big dude for how do you combat the big dude from Nebraska?
Oh yeah, Berka Büyüktüncel from Turkey. He a transfer from UCLA, but it's his second year in Lincoln. He's a big dude, about 7 rebounds a game, and they list him at 6'10". He looks every bit of that, about 245. He's been really solid for them. Doesn't shoot it well. He might take an early three, but that's not been his strong suit, kind of like this camera not being a strong suit, looking kind of more weird by the minute. But the guy to watch, I think, for Nebraska is Rink Mast.
That's
Feels
the
like,
kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
feels like from the Netherlands. He's the guy who was Wisconsin faced him a few years ago in the NIT when he was at Bradley, and he played pretty well in that game at the Kohl Center. He missed all of last year. He was rehabbing from a knee injury. He had surgery in May of 2024 and just took a red shirt last year. But the guy's good, man. He's at 18 points a game. He can shoot it. His three-point shooting is at 45%. He does, excuse me, he does everything. 3+ assists, 6 rebounds. It was very obvious how much Nebraska missed him last year, even though they went on, they played in what was called the Crown Tournament, and they won it. So if you're going to keep playing, play it to win it, and they did. But it makes you wonder what could have been had Rink Mast been available for the Huskers last year.
That's the guy. It's funny because when the way college coaches think and stuff, like Greg gets his guys like from Minnesota and stuff and from anywhere. But I remember I talked to a coach one time and he's like, I'm so sick of getting beat by little white point guards that can shoot threes that I'm going to go recruit one. And it's like the copycat nature of this. It's like, oh, we got to go get a guy from the Netherlands. We got to go find a guy from, I'm sick of that guy.
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, you think, Lithuania, like New Zealand, Australia, the Netherlands, but this guy has 28 double-doubles in his college career. So he's capable of having those really big games, not just scoring, but rebounding the ball. But he's 6'10", 250. But he has been a big reason. They got a couple other guys transfer from Iowa, Price Sanford. The bad news is Connor Essegian's out for the year, the former Badger. He got hurt in their game a couple weeks ago against Winthrop, an ankle injury. He really hadn't gotten into rhythm shooting the ball, but he's capable of doing that. So that's been a hit for the Huskers off the bench. But the coach's son, Sam Hoiberg, has been really good. Greg McDermott actually said, the coach at Creighton said he was a difference maker in that game. He can get into you defensively. He's efficient with what he does at the offensive end. So it's, this guy, Sam Hoiberg, has been really good for Nebraska.
John Blackwell has, on the Badgers side of things, what have you seen from him this year? Obviously he comes back and it just seems like he's kind of raised the ceiling on kind of this team as a whole and where he could be personally as well after this season.
Yeah, it's been interesting, Hunter, listening to opposing coaches the last couple of games, Chris Collins at Northwestern and then Shaka Smart after Saturday's game with Marquette. I mean, and Shaka's not lying. He's coached some guys who've been in the NBA, and he puts Blackwell in that category. But as Chris Collins said, he's always been mature. He was really good 2 years ago as a freshman, but he's just steadily improved. He went through the evaluation process with the NBA folks this past off season, and the 3-point shooting has returned for him. He was really good last year, but the shot wasn't as consistent as he would like. And right now he's like 43% from the 3-point line. He plays with such control. Yeah. There's a confidence about him. I mean, he's a really humble guy, but he's also fiercely competitive. And I think Greg's mentioned this multiple times. When he steps on the floor, I think there's a quiet confidence with him that he knows he's as good as anybody out there when he's really on his game. And it's been fun to watch him because he was one of those under-recruited players, kind of a classic Wisconsin kind of player, somebody who was overlooked by many coming out of high school. The Badgers liked what they saw out of him and liked what they believe he could be, and he's certainly on a good path to being every bit of that, if not more. But those are the kind of guys who have starred at Wisconsin in the past, and we'll see how can you continue to do that. You've got to use the portal, you've got to find other ways, but I think as long as this Badger program gets guys who really develop and might have been overlooked by some of the other power programs, they turn out to be really good fits for the Badgers.
Talking to Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers, live from Lincoln, Nebraska. Tip-off tonight, 8 o'clock. Matt and Butchie, the Prince of Popcorn, will be courtside. I hope they have a lot of popcorn in Lincoln in the press room. Just saying.
He's gonna be hungry. He just flew in today. He was they went over to see Sebastopol. Their high school team played last night, which is about an hour and a half drive on a good day for Butchie, but the big snowstorm there, it turned into a long journey. But they did a thing for Blake. his son, and they raise a bunch of money. And he was sending me some photos of it last night. Blake talking to the team before the game, and they had beaten a team that they hadn't beaten for like 17 years. So I told Butchie, I said, well, you're going to need to go back. Obviously, well, not you, but Blake. They're going to want Blake back there. So it sounded like a really good night. So he was, but yeah, he came in a little bleary eyed about noon today. But yeah, he's getting his beauty sleep, air quotes. So he'll be ready to go tonight.
He's going to be hungry. When the Badgers did their shoot around, did Connor Essegian pop by, or will he wait to tonight to make his?
He did not. They keep that separated. You know, Wisconsin does its thing, and then Nebraska. That's just how it is in college basketball. But we did catch up with Jeff Levering and Sean Morris, who will have the BTN game tonight. So that was
fantastic.
Good. Always good to catch up with those guys.
So the basketball coaches are trying to avoid a Connor Stallion situation. They're trying to avoid seeing your very sets and you walk through.
Years ago, when Dick Bennett was coaching, they went in. It was the shoot around or maybe a practice the night before at Assembly Hall. Bob Knight was still at Indiana, and they go into the arena, Assembly Hall, and apparently there was some information on Indiana, what it was going to run. Some of it's like play sheets, so to speak. And Dick was like, we can't look at that. We've got to get this returned and whatever. And so they take care of it. One of the Wisconsin managers goes back to the Indiana people, and then eventually Knight comes out and says, here's our plays. Here's what we're going to do. here's what's going to, whatever else you need. But those two guys always had a great relationship, Bob Knight and Dick Bennett. Anyway, but you don't see too much mingling in shoot-arounds in college basketball. Team A does its thing, gets off the floor, then Team B comes up.
That sounds about right. Every time, Matt, that I see, if I surf through and see what the Nebraska side is saying this, or what the opponents, what their message board or their fan sites or their own university, UWBadgers.com, I go check it out, and everybody talks about the Badgers in late game situations and that they make free throws. And it is uncanny. What is in the water in Madison? Why are the Badgers so good when other teams struggle so much at the line?
Well, yeah, this has been, they're in a stretch. We saw this last year and we're seeing it so far this year. It's not overly scientific. The guys who get fouled the most are good free throw shooters. And they've had years where that sounds like duh, but they've had some years where that's not been the case. Ethan Happ was a really, really good player here, a 2,000+ point scorer. He struggled at the free throw line. Nigel Hayes had a year where he really struggled and he got fouled a fair amount. So that's had, John Tajay was outstanding at the free throw line last year. You had Blackwell, and those guys now, Blackwell, looking at it right now, Blackwell's 82%, Nick Boyd's 83%. Those are the guys with the way they play, they're going to get hacked a fair amount when they're driving into the lane and going to the bucket. So a lot of times it's just as simple as that. The guys who get there with the most frequency are really good free throw shooters. And, they had a school record last year, almost an NCAA record, just shy of what Villanova did a few years ago. And they're not far off that pace right now, 80% through 9 games.
It's uncanny. And yeah, to your point, I do remember Ethan Happ because that affects end of game situations. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, you want him, the other team will guard everybody else to make you throw the ball to the guy they want to foul.
Yeah, it was like hack a Shaq or hack a Hack, but Ethan was so good here. You talk about somebody who made the very most of his abilities because most of his scoring came within an arm's length of the rim. But he was so versatile with what he could do, be able to go to his offhand, but free throw shooting was just something that as a Badger, really gets into your head too. You try a little bit of everything. There were several years ago, many years ago now, a player named Ryan Evans, who was a good, solid player at Wisconsin, but struggled at the foul line. And eventually it became a jump shot for him. Just something to, try something a little bit different. And it's amazing how that's a lonely place when you're struggling there. Knock on wood, they've been pretty good there the last couple of years, and hopefully that'll continue.
Is Happ still playing in Europe? Is he still?
That's a good question. As soon as I brought him up, I think he is, but I'm not. Yeah, it's been a while since that I've tracked where he is these days.
We'll have Hunter look it up. But he was a fun guy to watch. It was a good interview. Just a good kid in general, and that makes me think, Matt, about there's something in the DNA of the program, and I'm not making any comparisons or anything, but when you watch guys like the Kaminsky, improvement and ascension. You watch Ethan Happ develop from a skinny kid who can barely hold on to the ball to a stronger force that other coaches had to game plan around. And then it makes me think of like Nolan Winter. And again, not the same player, but you see his arc of improvement and confidence and strength. And, you see what he brings. And there are some programs and some coaches where guys show up and you don't see them get better.
You're right. You're right. And I think in this era we're in now too, you have guys who may only be here a year. And obviously with Wisconsin, they have guys, Braden Carrington, Nick Boyd, Andrew Rohde. Those are 1-year guys, but you could still see them improve from the summer workouts or early October to the end of the season. But I do, that's been a hallmark of this program, going back many, many years and multiple coaches ago. Certainly under Dick Bennett, they got better. Under Bo, they got better. And with Greg, the same thing. You really hope as an old school college basketball fan, you're likely going to need to use the portal. And that's great. You bring in the right players and the guys who fit in the locker room and have the skill set. But I know that fans of Wisconsin basketball, they enjoy those guys who they watch become something better than what they walked in, better than what they were when they walked in. And Nolan Winter, who's always had the great mindset, but now he's got more bulk to be able. I mean, he's not a burly guy, but he's got more strength to be able to mix it up. And he's almost averaging a double-double so far this season. And his three-point shot still isn't there. And he's got a good shot. It'll come around. So the scoring will continue to get better and better for him. But guys like him and Blackwell, and that's where you hope, like an Austin Rapp is a sophomore. He's a transfer from Portland, but he could really get better and better. And then a guy like Will Garlock, the freshman out of Middleton, who's playing, he's getting some minutes already as a freshman, to watch his growth. And then eventually Zach Kinzinger, who's planning to redshirt this season, but he's someone that you really want to track and see what kind of careers they can have, because I think they're all very promising.
Yeah, it was fun watching Kinzinger in high school, that unbeaten team that he was a part of. And those.
Yeah, he could score it. He could definitely score it.
That was pretty cool.
Ethan Happ plays in Spain.
All right.
There you go. Yep.
He's getting the check. And then Decker's over there too, isn't he? I think Decker's in that.
Yes, I believe he's in Spain too.
Yeah. Yeah, see, a lot of dudes
still tweeting a lot.
Yes, very active in the Wisconsin sports scene.
Very active. Yeah. Yes, I go to him for my Brewers updates, and my occasional
Mm-hmm.
Bucks commentary and stuff. Yeah, Sammy's going to end up in this business with us, I think.
Yes, he is. Yes,
he and his wife should have a show, a podcast, or he should be doing, he should be doing game analysis. He's got a lot of opinions. He's
Frank's doing some of that now, out with the out with the Suns, or I don't know if it's with the G League, maybe, but maybe a little bit with the Suns too. So with Kaminsky, he's so smart and he can be funny. That's something I think that he'll be really good at. And I know Sam will when he's ready to get into that field.
Right. And they both have wives in the industry, which they're going to be a
that helps
direction.
Yes.
That helps too. All right, Matt, I want to shift gears a little bit. We talked to Jim Polzin at length about the college football playoff and stuff. Do you have a strong opinion about Notre Dame and the squawking that went on when they released the 12?
It seemed like they just picked up their toys and went home. Didn't want to play in a bowl, right? Like that was a kind of a little bit of a hissy fit. It seemed that way. I get the argument because I hate to diss on Tulane or James Madison, because could they win a game? Yeah, they could be like the Boise State over Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl back in 06 or 07, whenever that was. Can they advance all the way through? Could Notre Dame have been one of those teams? Yeah, I think. But you look at who Notre Dame beat in that long winning streak. There weren't a lot of great teams that they beat. But I think the argument is, to me, you either just have automatic qualifiers. Maybe Notre Dame gets in a league, probably not, or just take the top 12, or if you expand at the top 16, whatever they are in your rankings, those are the teams that are in. Forget about AQs winning your league, because the ACC champion didn't make the playoff. The one ACC team is an at-large in Miami, which is probably the best team in the league anyway. But the way that's structured of the ACC, Duke ended up winning the ACC championship. So maybe one that makes sense is just have the top 12 as it is now in the CFP rankings, and those are your teams. And then they're probably going to expand it anyway, because Notre Dame is a team that I think most would tell you has the chops to get to the championship game, but it's not going to get a chance to do that.
Is the new trend going to be they're going to beat the drums to get rid of conference championship games altogether and just start like a play-in and advance and make that everybody talks about, they're not going to get rid of that TV revenue. Playoff games are also pretty lucrative.
They can find a different way to do that.
Yeah, they're pretty lucrative.
The Big Ten championship game had almost as many viewers as the Ohio State Michigan game. It was like 18.4, and that's the game before was like 18.5. So they had a monster number. Fox did for this, but that was 1 versus 2. I mean, you've got the big draw, Ohio State, which is always going to get a lot of eyeballs, and then the great story of Indiana. Could they win it? And yes, they could, and they did. I think it depends, Drew, to me on how much they expand it. I mean, if Tony Petitti gets his wish and they go to 24, I think we can say bye-bye to conference championship. If it's 16, I would imagine they'll still do it because of the networks like that. Fox loves that primetime Big Ten championship game. ABC loves the SEC championship game. So it's part of it. I get frustrated because the Saturday games were really good. The story of Indiana and winning the Big Ten for the first time since 1967. Then I flip it over to the ACC game, and here's Duke winning the ACC. Like, this is pretty entertaining. And then, 12 hours later or 15 hours later, when the final CFP rankings come out, everybody's going ballistic, like everybody always does. Like 2 years ago, Florida State got aced out in the 14 playoff because, they were undefeated, but their quarterback got hurt. So they're not going to give us a very good TV show. We can't put them in the top 4. It'd be like the Packers not losing again, and then Jordan Love gets hurt the last game of the regular season, and the NFL playoff committee says, we can't have you because we don't think you can win it now.
That's what it would come to. Yeah.
With all and kind of going along the same lines of the conference championships, the bowl season in general, I mean, you have high class, obviously Notre Dame headlining, but you have other teams. I think Iowa State, one of them, they're just not going to bowl games. And it's not, only because they're missing the playoff, but this transfer portal. I mean, you've obviously seen some Wisconsin guys already enter that portal. I mean, that is going to continue to take a toll on what we knew as bowl season.
Yeah, it's different. It's the bowls as we knew them are done, because even the teams that are playing, you're going to have a lot of guys who aren't off of those teams. But I've said this a lot. The bottom line is people still watch these games. But you're right. Baylor's out. Iowa State is out. Obviously, Notre Dame pulled out. So you got teams that, are legitimately bowl teams, and not the 5 and 7 because your APR is good and you have gaps to fill. These are teams that are 8-win teams, 8+ win teams. I think as long as people tune into these games, they'll have them, even if it's like a split squad spring training game in a lot of cases, which it's going more and more in that direction. But people love to watch football. They love to wager on it. Check with Billy on that. I'll check with Billy to see if that actually happens. He might know.
Allegedly.
Because the numbers for a lot of these games are still, you get a few million to several million for these non-playoff bowl games. You may not have many people in the stands, but you have eyeballs watching.
Absolutely.
However, on your iPad, on whatever, as long as people tune in, they'll probably have most of these bowl games moving forward.
That's right. Hunter alluded to it. We're getting the news about Cade Yakimelli, Tretch Kakahuna. Tretch Kakahuna was going to leave last year, and then they talked him into staying. Is there any hope for that, or we just figure that just expands the shopping list in the offseason?
Yeah, well, I think maybe you play it through, because Jeff Grimes talked about when the offensive coordinator last year when he came on, he said Tretch is just the kind of guy that you need for what they wanted to do. And obviously, I get it where Tretch is coming from. You didn't get the ball in your hands very much. Got a lot of jet sweeps, but I think he'd probably like to catch a few more passes. So there's the financial component, I would imagine, but there's also like, who's my quarterback, and are we going to have more opportunities? So those are the kind of things I get when you're in the portal right now. Maybe some players close the door on the school that they had been at, but maybe in Tretch's case, you leave the door open, but not having spoken to him about it, it's hard to say. But a guy like him, I like, because I think you get the ball in his hands, he could do some things with it if you get him the ball in some space. But I can understand where he might be frustrated with an offense that just has not been able to throw the ball well at all for a while.
Yep, I definitely get that. Matt, I can't envision a scenario by which I will visit Lincoln, Nebraska in the month of December. But if I ever do, I want to hang out with you and Butchie and Lev.
Absolutely. There's no snow here, guys. It was like 53 when we landed yesterday. It's almost 40 right now. So it's almost balmy. Need an umbrella drink here before the
I saw it might be 60 in Denver for kickoff on Sunday.
Packers are looking at 60. They're wearing their winter whites, and it's going to be 60 degrees in Denver. Crazy. Have a great call tonight, Matt. Thanks for joining us today. Say hi to Butchie and Lev for us. We love those guys.
All right, boys. Take care.
You bet. Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers, live from Lincoln, Nebraska. Tip-off tonight is 8 o'clock. Badgers against the unbeaten 23rd ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. A victory tonight in the first true road game for the Badgers, I think, lands them in the top 25 next time. They're close anyway. They're one of the top teams that isn't involved in it. So going to be kind of interesting. All right, we're rolling you through a Wednesday. Get your hot takes ready. Adam Pawlak's going to join us at 4 o'clock. We'll be living the high life with our celebrity chef buddy. If you got food questions, he loves them. So keep that rolling as well. You're listening to Drew and Hunter.
Missed an hour of Drew and KB? You can find all of the shows in podcast form.
How much excitement do you want?
Just search Drew and KB on the iHeartRadio app. We call it Wagertainment.
All right, place your bets.
VSiN, every night at 6. Presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest on Fox Sports 920.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Hey there, people. This is Mark Maron, and I host the podcast WTF with Mark Maron, which is available on iHeartRadio. Honestly, I think we could all listen to each other a little bit more, and I think it's a healthy thing. I listen to all sorts of people, comedians, actors, musicians, directors, writers, even a president. They come into my garage, and we have a conversation about all the big stuff in life. Go check it out, WTF with Mark Maron, right here on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Journey songs that you thumbed up. Number 3, Separate Ways, Worlds Apart.
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. One night will remind you. Oh, we touched away on separate ways.
Number 2, Any Way You Want It.
Beautiful change. She said, any way you want it, that's the way it is. Any way you want it, oh. I said, any way you want it, that's the way it is. Any way you want it.
Number 1, Don't Stop Believing.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light.
Hear more from Journey and similar artists now. Search for Journey on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Wisconsin Badger basketball.
After a big weekend win over Marquette, the Badgers travel to Nebraska this Wednesday night. Our coverage starts at 7:30 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1967.
Van Morrison, formerly of the band Them, has a number 10 hit as a solo artist with Brown Eyed Girl. In July, LA band The Grassroots scored their first top 10 hit with Let's Live for Today. And UK supergroup Cream, featuring guitarist Eric Clapton, toured the US for the first time.
In the sunshine of your love.
And in September, Janis Joplin's band Big Brother and the Holding Company signed with Columbia Records and released their debut album. October of 67, Memphis band The Box Tops, including 17-year-old gravel voice singer Alex Chilton, have a number 1 hit with The Letter.
Ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a going home. My baby used to whip me a leather. My baby used to whip me a leather.
And in November, the first issue of Rolling Stone magazine is published in San Francisco, featuring an interview with John Lennon. The Who have their first and only U.S. top 10 hit with I Can See for Miles. In December, they smashed their instruments on the Smothers Brothers TV show.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1967, coming up.
After a pair of losses at Chicago last weekend, the Milwaukee Admirals travel to take on a tough Grand Rapids team. The league-leading Griffins host Milwaukee Wednesday night. Here's Carr in the slot. Carr loads up the shot. He scores! 6 o'clock face-off. Pregame at 5:30 on Fox Sports 920 and the iHeartRadio app.
When Marlon Shirley was 5, he lost his foot. Today, as the world's fastest amputee, he runs the 100 meters in less time than it takes to listen to this. Overcome it. Pass it on. From a foundation for a better life.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Wisconsin's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Drew and Hunter bringing it to you. Thanks to the voice of the Badgers, Matt Lepay, for gracing our airwaves and interwebs with his presence. Even though if you were watching the stream, you might get vertigo.
Yeah, we had to kind of tilt our heads in order to see him properly.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't either.
I didn't think it was possible.
Because I think he was seeing us straight on, so that makes it even more perplexing.
Yeah. Glitch in the matrix. It's all good. It's all good. Moving forward, Adam Pawlak will join us at 4 o'clock. We're going to be living the high life, and we'll talk a little puck with our pal John Greenberg, president of the Milwaukee Admirals. That all lies ahead, but get your hot takes ready. Hot Take Hump Day, Drew and Hunter.
Milwaukee, home to beer, brats, and baseball. The best fans on the planet known to man. And who could forget those sweet, sweet powder blues? A symbol of blue skies, bat cracks, and ball hawks. To honor that, the team is introducing a blast from the past for the upcoming 2026 season. A blast so big, it might turn you blue. Introducing the brand new powder blue alternate road uniforms. So recognizable, it'll have you reminiscing on County Stadium and Harvey's Wallbangers. Just ask All-Star flamethrower Jacob Mizarowski. How are we feeling, Jacob?
Pretty good.
I must say you look outstanding. And now you too can don the blues, just like Jacob. Available now at your local Brewers team store. Go Brewers.
Like you, it hurts us to think about Giannis in another NBA uniform.
Back in August, he approached the Bucks about the possibility of being traded to the New York Knicks, and the Bucks and the Knicks had several weeks of trade discussions about it.
We're in this together. Stay tuned for the latest news on the situation and support along the way here on The Game.
Are you ready for kids who eat healthy? Good nutrition can lead to great things. To find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed, go to mypyramid.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and USDA.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1974.
All the land on the run. Land on the run.
In January of 1974, the top-selling album of the year is released, Paul McCartney and Wings' Band on the Run. Bob Dylan, backed by the band, has his first #1 album with Planet Waves. In February, Jersey City's Kool and the Gang have a top 5 hit with Jungle Boogie. New York City's Kiss released their debut, which sells 75,000 copies without a hit single. In March of 74, Canadian band Rush released their debut album, get a new drummer, and go on their first U.S. tour. David Essex has the first of many top 10 hits in the UK and his only U.S. hit with the single Rock On, which goes to number 5. And Steely Dan hit the top 5 with the single Ricky Don't Lose That Number and have a top 10 album too with Pretzel Logic.
Ricky, don't lose that number. It's the only one you know. You might use it if you feel better when you get home.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1974. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
September of 77, American duo Steely Dan released their 6th album, Asia. It goes to number 3 in the States on the strength of 2 top 20 hits, Peg and Deacon Blues.
Call me Deacon Blues.
In October, the major label debut album by Meatloaf is released. It's number 14 in the U.S. and goes on to be one of the best-selling albums of all time.
I gotta know right now, before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever?
Leonard Skinner released the album Street Survivor. 3 days later, singer Ronnie Van Zant and 2 other band members are killed in a plane crash. The album goes to number 5 in the States, and the single What's Your Name hits number 13.
What's your name, little girl? What's your name?
In November, Eric Clapton's Slow Hand is released. It goes to number 2, driven by 3 hit singles, Cocaine, Wonderful Tonight, and Lay Down Sally.
Lay down, Sally, and rest here in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to?
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up.
iHeartRadio. Here are the top Pat Benatar songs that you've thumbed up. Number 3, Love is a Battlefield. Number 2, We Belong. Number 1, Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Hit me with the best shot. Why don't you hit me with the best shot? Hit me with the best shot. Fire away.
Hear more from Pat Benatar and similar artists now. Search for Pat Benatar on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
What you waiting for? Let's go. Make sure to make us a preset on the iHeartRadio app so you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Wisconsin's home for sports and stuff. We are the game. Welcome to Drew and Hunter in the afternoon. Sit back, relax, and drive home with the guys as they talk sports and stuff with you.
Anybody ever do a first date at a Packer game?
Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Just search Drew and Hunter. Hit us up on the NicoleLaw.com talk and text line at 877-794-1973.
I'm on team text.
Now, along with Hunter Baumgart, here is Drew Olson.
Dominating Wednesday afternoon in the good land. It's Drew and Hunter from headquarters. You can get us at 877-794-1973, the NicoleLaw.com talk and text line. Hunter, it's Hot Take Hump Day. Let's go. Let's get it going. Let's welcome some hot takes, opinions.
Let's do it.
Flaming hot nails of truth, as our buddy the Zabe used to say. Whatever you have, we will accept predictions as hot takes. Give them to us, 877-794-1973. That's the talk or text line. If you want to call us, Hunter will put you through. Talk to tens of thousands of smart, good-looking listeners statewide. Or just text us your thoughts on the hot take. Do we have a little theme song?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go. The late, great Buster Poindexter / David Johansen. Hot Take Hump Day. All right. Presented by Chico's Bail Bonds. Let freedom ring. Hot take, hump day. I'll start it. David Stearns might be the least popular man in New York these days.
Yeah.
The former Brewers GM, now Mets GM, exec, vice president of personnel, whatever he is. They traded Brandon Nimmo, who Mets fans loved and was a good player, but Mets fans loved him, fan favorite. They let Edwin Diaz go and signed Devin Williams, who struggled for the Yankees. And I think Mets fans were happy to see him struggle for the Yankees and now afraid that he's going to struggle for them too. We shall see. They let Pete Alonso, one of the fan favorites, they let him go as a free agent. We're 2 months away from spring training, and David Stearns has a lot of time to cook and get guys and to make it, and maybe they'll win more games than they did. But right now, Mets fans not happy.
No.
With the offseason.
No, and when you lose two of those core guys, that is significant in a situation where you're trying to obviously build for a championship because you're in New York. It's just fascinating to see the different philosophies between the Mets and, say, the Dodgers. Dodgers just going out and grabbing everybody. Kyle Tucker could be a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're not holding anything back, especially with what could come next year as who knows, maybe some financial restrictions come throughout baseball. But it's interesting to see how they're doing this and how the Mets are doing this. And it looked like the Mets didn't even offer what the Orioles did. I saw, the Mets never made an offer as it became clear to them that Alonso was getting bids for more dollars and years than in their comfort zone. Then we're talking about the New York Mets. We're not talking about the Brewers or Rays, or we're talking about Steve Cohen and the New York Mets. And that's from Joel Sherman saying that, Alonso was getting bids for more dollars and years than in their comfort zone. Yeesh.
Wow. Yeah. They have unlimited resources and they have a comfort zone. Come on. No wonder they're mad. Another hot take for you. Frank the Tank from Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
Famous Mets fan. He's more unhinged than our pal Cato Kalin is with Wisconsin sports.
And that's hard to do.
Hard to do.
Yep.
Hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, though, he's been on a rant. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. At all.
No. Well, especially after the year the Mets had where they collapsed and didn't make the playoffs. And it's one thing not to win a title. It's another thing to not even make the playoffs when you're in that market. And with how baseball is set up, it's wild how you can have in baseball. Yes, you can say that, the big markets have the advantage because they can, you can spend as much as you want and all of that. And the small markets have a disadvantage. But it also comes down to how the organizations run and how the people are able to manage the money and manage the people and manage everything that has to do with the Major League Baseball organization. It's not just throwing dollars at it, as we've seen with the New York Mets. I think they're probably the first example of that throwing money at it doesn't work. The Yankees were just in the World Series last year. Obviously, the Dodgers are back-to-back champs. They, Blue Jays threw a bunch of money. They got there, but there's these teams that, although they have the resources, are not getting to where they want to be. And then there are other teams like the Brewers who may not have those resources, but because of the people in place are getting to close to where they want to be and consistently competing and getting to the postseason, getting to the NLCS. And then there are the small market teams, whoever it may be, maybe a Pittsburgh Pirates, for example, right, who aren't competing. So yes, you can throw all the money at it you want, but that's not necessarily if you don't have the right people in place. And it's surprising because if I were to say combine David Stearns' expertise here in Milwaukee and what he did to build a winner in Milwaukee and combine that with the resources the Mets have, I'd be like, oh, look out. But that just hasn't been the case so far.
I know in this age of analytics and stuff, it's hard to put a value at the intangibles. And you mentioned it like with the cornerstone players like Alonso and Diaz and stuff, that there's that value there. Of the clubhouse guys. Now, I don't know. I haven't spent any time hanging out with Edwin Diaz, but you spend time with Devin Williams. Is Devin Williams like the guy, even when he was the Brewers closer and he was the reliever of the year, was he the leader in that bullpen? Or was he I think he's a quirky kind of guy. And it doesn't seem like maybe as he's maturing, but it didn't seem like he was the guy that people would go to with problems and stuff like that.
I think people
have that.
Yeah, I think people soaked things up just by watching him and the way he went about his business
He taught
because he
guys
was so good.
his changeup grip and stuff.
Right,
He taught him how
exactly.
he was getting movement.
But was he, a you rah-rah guy, kind of like a Trevor McGill is now? And, with reports are that the Yankees and Mets, speaking of the Mets, are interested in Trevor McGill. And you're like, I get it because Abner Uribe is ready to take that closer role. But then again, you love the way McGill leads that bullpen and kind of is one of those sparks in that clubhouse. And so, yeah, that all has to be taken into account. Now, yeah, so I agree with you. I don't think Devin Williams was necessarily the leader in the bullpen. However, I think his play on the field,
Well,
people
that
kinda took
matters,
after him.
but I think people underestimate the value of guys to the culture.
Mhm.
And there's the Yelich example. Like there
Totally.
are people who blanch at his salary, which seems high on the Brewers payroll.
Sure.
It ain't high compared to the rest of the league. There are
No.
jabronis who make more than Devin Williams. There are underachieving guys that make more than Christian Yelich.
Sure.
But Yelich's value to the Brewers goes beyond the stats, right? Especially lately. We talked about it countless times last year, and we've talked about it in the past with Giannis. When your best player is a hardworking guy, you never see Christian Yelich complain during slumps. You never
No.
see him jake it. You never see him. He almost never yells at an umpire. Right.
He's one of the most even keel. Honestly, him
totally
and
is.
Jordan Love are similar in that respect. A couple of the most even keel, really good players at their positions in sports.
Yes.
Like don't get up and don't get down, no matter if they're, struggling or no matter if they're balling out, so to speak.
And Yelich has taken on more of that statesman role.
Totally.
Making the speech, calling a team meeting when he needs it. Like it's impactful. And the value of that, the Brewers have done a good job cultivating that.
Yeah.
Whereas other teams like, let's just throw a bunch of expensive guys together and they'll
right.
They think winning brings chemistry, or does chemistry lead to winning? It's the chicken and egg thing.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to watch these, for all the talk about the Dodgers, to watch all these other big spending teams just flail around.
Yeah.
And the Orioles were in that camp. They've had bad ownership and stuff. Now they go get Alonso. Is that going to make them a playoff contender, or is he just going to be, he's a good clubhouse citizen, but is he just going to be a good guy on a mediocre team?
I mean, they've got a really good lineup now.
Good young players that have underachieved for.
That's the thing. Like, it was surprising how bad they were this previous year. But I mean, you've now got, of course, you got Gunnar Henderson. You've obviously got Pete Alonso now, Jordan Westberg, Taylor Ward, who they traded for, Adley Rutschman, Jackson Holliday. You have Nate Colton Cowser. You have names in that lineup.
They do.
They just, like you said, have underachieved so far. They got rid of their manager. We'll see what they do with the new guy in this year. So maybe that helps. Maybe he's able to put the guys in better positions to win this season. I do think they'll be more competitive than they were in 2025. But does Pete Alonso solve all their problems? Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
A friend of mine's an Orioles fan, and he texted me. He's like, one guy's not going to make a difference unless you bring back Jim Palmer.
Then maybe he'll make a difference.
Jim Palmer, if Phillip Rivers can come back, why can't Jim Palmer come and give you a couple innings?
Crazy.
Right?
I just saw on TV Phillip Rivers throwing some passes. It's like, you just think about it. Like, he hasn't been hit by an NFL team in 5 years. Like, what's that going to feel like? Now, Shane Steichen saying that it's a possibility he starts. They also have Brett Rippon as well. But, man, I don't know. You're down to 4 games left? Why not just throw him out there and see what happens?
Absolutely. I mean, put the paddles to it. Still try to make the playoffs and try to, could change the equation of those games. Like I mentioned, that the Colts have games against Seattle and San Francisco that could tilt the scale in the NFC West. So, we'll see how that's going to happen. We'll see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
Again, the hot takes keep rolling in 877-794-1973. Hot take. The Giannis stuff isn't going to go away. He posted a picture. Did you see it, of him as a youngster looking out over the lights of Greece?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a melancholy post with a Greek song accompanying it. So people freaked out when he deleted posts. Now they're freaking out about every post. Well, at practice today, the Bucks have had a couple practices, which is rare in the NBA, right? They've had some, you don't get a lot of practice time. That's one of the things that's wrong with the NBA and the way the schedule is. Like, they don't get a lot of time to iron things out. And Doc Rivers was asked about it, and here's his quote. via our pal Jim Ozarski, I think. Yeah. Quote, this is the last thing I'm going to say on false information. At the end of the day, everyone needs to wait until Giannis says something, because all of this is just he say, she say. And I guarantee when we start winning and we go 8-0, 9-0, you won't see nothing about the Bucks. You won't see, oh, the Bucks are 8-0, 9-0, they're flourishing. And Giannis is, we're not going to see any of that positive news. For at least for me, this is the last time I'm going to answer anything false.
Oh, that's actually, I think that's Kevin Porter Jr.
Oh, that's Porter. You're right.
Yep,
That was Porter.
yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. So, but now there's reporting from Chris Hayes that Giannis addressed the team about his status and basically just said, let's go. Don't worry about the noise. Let's focus and let's get it going.
The thing that could go wrong here, if Giannis wants out and this is the end, if Giannis goes, to management today and says, all right, this isn't going anywhere. Let's end this. Let's find a trade partner. Fine. But I think what could hurt this and I don't think it'll hurt his legacy because of what he did for the city and how good he was in a Bucks uniform. But what could get a little murky is if this is like wishy-washy and there's these seasons in here of, does he want to stay? Does he want to go? Or even weeks or months, because fans can not turn quickly, because not in the grand scheme, but I think fans are kind of like, okay, if you want to go. And clearly this isn't a Shams made up report because of how many other reports are now coming out here. And so there's clearly smoke and there's clearly fire here. But I think you have to make sure also that if you're Giannis, you can kind of make this a bad exit if you just literally went to them and asked for a trade. I think a lot of people would understand right now.
That's right. Giannis will never want to be the bad guy, right? And
right.
I don't think
and maybe he's trying too hard not to be.
He's going to not trash Milwaukee. But the thing is, now they post that picture of him as a youngster looking out over the twinkling lights of
See, that's the
Greece.
tough,
But that was Greece, right?
It is. And I'm not saying it, but everything he knows, he's smart.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing. He's feeding something. But then people were like, this was a post because he misses his father. Or this is a post about, he's thinking about how far he's coming. Or this is a post saying he's not going to leave Milwaukee because of the way the song that was underneath it. So you can read into whatever you want, but the bottom line is he has stayed loyal. He's never wavered from saying, I want to stay in Milwaukee as long as we can compete for a championship. Can they compete for a championship? At present, it doesn't look like it this year.
Right.
And there's a good story. And the idea of the trade and the deadline and the trading, the Derby's open, but the deadline's not for another couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good story on The Ringer about the Giannis situation. And it's a hook that you might not have thought of. And again, I maintain my position is that if the Bucks are going to trade Giannis, it has to be almost in the off season, because it's going to take months to create one of these 6-team ping pong bank shot deals where this player goes here, these picks go there, this team gets that. And it's almost impossible to do those the way the CBA is and the way, you have to match up money. It's really hard to do those in the season.
That's what made the Doncic trade even wilder, is the timing of that.
Insane.
Yeah,
absolutely insane. But the other element of it that will depress potentially the market for Giannis is how good Oklahoma City is. Because if you're in the West and you're trying to take shots at Oklahoma City, they're so dominant. Do you want to give up assets? Like if you have young players, do you want to give them up and bring Giannis in and take a run at Oklahoma City? Or do you want to let your young players develop for a while and hope that Oklahoma City comes down in the future while your players are ascending?
Yeah.
Because it's absurd how good Oklahoma City is right now.
It is.
The fact that they're in Oklahoma City.
They're like the Warriors.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they, like 23-1?
Yeah.
They've won 15 in a row. They're 23-1, and they've had a bunch of starters miss chunks of time.
They play in the Eastern Conference semifinals of the NBA Cup, or Western Conference semifinals of the NBA Cup tonight.
So, and they are by far the favorites to win another title.
They have a 5.5 game lead just as the 1 seed.
They're such a juggernaut that if you're like, hey, let's go in, let's get Giannis and win now.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of eliminate, like San Antonio has a bunch of young players and stuff, but would Giannis put them over the top to compete right now?
Right.
And to knock Oklahoma City off the throne? Or does Houston? right? So that makes teams gun shy a
Mhm.
little bit.
And
So
I wouldn't think the Bucks would trade him in the East.
you wouldn't think, but then again, what's the motivation in the East as well? If again, that teams that have young players, like maybe Atlanta, but so that's a different though. The top teams in the West are looking at Oklahoma City, and the teams in the East, it's wide open, like Miami, the Knicks, but they don't have the young players. They don't have the. That's why I'm talking about that 6 bank shot trade. So the Giannis market is just, it's weird. And the way the draft and free agency and the CBA, it clouds it. So here's a stat for you, though. On the current Bucks roster, Giannis is the only player who's drafted by Milwaukee.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow. See,
that is a huge reason why they are where they are right
now.
Trades and free agency.
Opposite of draft and develop.
Yeah. So now the Thunder, the Brewers are like a smaller version of the Thunder. Like that's the blueprint now.
Yeah.
OKC's got young talent built within and with patience, and they were kind of in it for the long haul. And they got all these draft picks, and their player development is amazing. But, how do you replicate that? How do you copy it?
Well, they also bottomed out.
Yeah, easier said than done. They bottomed out, and then they hit a home run. The Paul George trade for them, and getting SG8 was the equivalent of drafting Giannis.
Well, right, and they got a bunch of draft picks and then used them in wise ways, and now put them all together on the floor, and it's worked.
Yeah. So this piece in the Ringer, near the top of it, it said the Bucks have been in steady decline since winning the title in 2021, slowly turning the best squad in the league to a thin, uneven mess. Thanks to a series of big strikeouts in the draft, muffed coaching hires, dumb trades, and the largest wave and stretch move in NBA history, the team is flailing. And given its recent track record, it's hard to predict how this organization will manage its biggest potential transaction since it traded Kareem 50 years ago. Will the Bucks do the right thing? I'm not sure that the Bucks deserve the benefit of the doubt at this point. So there's that. It's a fascinating time.
It is
for the Bucks, and then the fact that he's injured now. But I hadn't thought about Oklahoma City being so dominant that it could depress the market. Because who wants to say win now when that's what you're up against?
Yeah, when you actually, do you think you actually have a chance to overtake the Thunder? And I don't know if a lot of teams do.
I don't. And the Thunder have, not only do they have good players, but they have like a stockpile of draft picks.
Because any team who gets Giannis right now is in a win right now mode. So then it becomes, well, you're getting Giannis, so your window is, not incredibly long because you've just given up draft picks probably, or young players, or both, probably both, to get Giannis.
Yeah.
And so now you have to try and win with Giannis. And are you going to do that against Oklahoma City?
So we always talk about it as a copycat league, but at the same time, you learn lessons from other teams. And it was 6 years ago that the Clippers, traded basically traded Oklahoma City's organization to them in exchange for Paul George.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. And 6 years later, the Clippers are, nowhere near where they thought they'd be. So, so you're going to give up young assets for one guy, like the way the Clippers did? Other GMs want to replicate that move where you make Milwaukee a contender for forever.
Right. I mean, that Paul George trade was OKC got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You got Gallinari, and then 5 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps.
I mean, that's...
When you have 5 first-round picks, I mean, at least one of them is going to pan out.
Yeah. Chet Holmgren and guys.
You'd
like
hope,
that, right?
at least. And, the Bucks' track record with drafting hasn't been great.
Not great, but they've never really been picking very high either.
That's
and
true.
When they dip into free agency, their guys always seem to hit. And so Oklahoma City's now the model. And I had not considered that could actually work to depress the market for Giannis and make it even harder for the Bucks to get value.
It is interesting to think about. So maybe it is an off-season thing, like you said.
That's the way I'm leaning. Doc Rivers was asked about that today, And he did say that the Bucks are not in panic mode, and it's not, oh my God, we need to change our team. He said they're not there right now.
Yeah.
So,
Good. Well, I'm glad they're not panicking, but
yeah, but
I don't know.
The results are the results.
Right.
Like they weren't really winning with Giannis.
Yeah, now he's hurt, and I'm sure that complicates things. If he doesn't get hurt that night, do things.
It would have bubbled up even more,
right?
And stuff. And,
yeah, that's what I would think.
And every rumor about him with New York or LA or
right,
it's going to get old. Yeah, 877-794-1973. On Max Kellerman's podcast.
Yeah, that's a
did you
new
see Rich
thing.
Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see his quotes?
I think him and Rich. I think they're doing a podcast together.
Yeah,
I think it's him and Rich Paul. I don't know.
That's
something.
Yeah, I like Max.
Yeah, he's fine.
Max is fine. But Rich Paul said that the Trae Young and a pick packages floating around NBA Twitter for Giannis.
Trae Young and a pick.
Rich Paul, who's the agent to the stars, right, represents a lot of stars. He said that's not right. No, with Giannis, it doesn't necessarily have to be a star because you're not getting a star back per se. Maybe you could. Let me say you're not getting a star back to the level of Giannis. You're not getting an MVP caliber player. You're not getting Luka. You're not getting Jokic. You're not getting Shea. You can get an all-star back. You need an all-star back.
Yeah.
Which is true, but you also need a lot of young players. And I mean, Giannis is 31 now, and that's going to depress the market too. The fact that he's having these calf injuries is going to depress his market maybe a little bit. So it's a fascinating thing. I don't know, man. Bucks play tomorrow night at home, one of their few home games of this month. At least between now and New Year's. I think they play New Year's Eve and tomorrow
just
night.
a couple, right?
Only home games they have.
That's yeah. So I mean, if I were to ask anything of Giannis, it's just let's not. I don't know. Don't do the social media cryptic stuff, and just nobody needs that. And all along, I've kind of thought that Giannis is not that type of guy. I don't think he is, and I don't think, like you said, I don't think he's going to bash Milwaukee or anything like that. But he has a chance here. He's a smart guy. He's a chance to make this exit hurt more than it has to, if indeed he does those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff with the Bucks, man. The Miles Turner stuff you got to unpack. Why isn't he playing more? Why isn't Doc using him at the end of games? Why is Miles Turner watching Jericho Sims not score and Bobby Portis not guard anybody?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Bucks turn the ball over too much. They foul too much. Again, you give them a little bit of a pass without Giannis, but it's got to look better. And I don't know where the relief is coming. Maybe they'll make trades at the deadline and nibble around the edges and get somebody that can help. But right now, I don't know where they go. And they're just like shredding water while we wait to see what's going to happen with the Greek Freak. So pretty wild. 877-794-1973. You can spin through some hardcore sports. Adam Pawlak going to join us at 4:00. We'll be living the high life with our celebrity chef buddy. So if you got any food questions, preparation questions, and stuff like that, food industry questions, Adam will not be with us next week because he's hosting that pop-up with the Food Network chef that we'll talk about at Egg and Flour for an entire day.
So pre-holiday questions now.
Yep. A lot of people have been talking about Egg and Flour. In fact, we had some friends that were there, and a lot of people go to Egg and Flour because they hear about it on our show, and they're out of curiosity. You're going to get some wonderful stick-to-the-ribs pasta there. Everything made from scratch. Adam is the man, and he's going to join us at 4:00 for Living the High Life. We're living the high life on a Wednesday afternoon. It's Drew and Hunter.
I don't mind you hanging out and talking in your sleep. I guess you're just what I needed. Just what I needed. I needed someone to feed. I guess you're just what I needed. Just what I needed. I needed someone to plead.
This is Jordan Love, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, and I am happy to accept my team's nomination for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Being nominated for the work you're doing, not just on the field, but the stuff you're doing off the field, is big time.
His work on the field is such a small amount of who he actually is.
I'm right behind you.
He'll do everything that he can to help the community. He wants to be as impactful as he can.
Hands of Love Foundation started about 2 years ago with the emphasis to try and give back to youth and keep kids involved in sports. We've done some pretty cool things like doing youth camps. We've also done a cleat drive campaign where every touchdown I score, we've been able to give teams in Wisconsin, and we're now doing Bakersfield, everyone on the team a new pair of cleats. Also with this, there's a mental health side. My family's been impacted. We've had suicide in our family, whether it's raising money, bringing awareness, doing suicide prevention walks, just to be out there to support other people that might be going through these things, understanding that people aren't alone.
Since you're doing some good reading, can you read this out loud for me?
Oh, wow.
How you doing?
What a surprise this is. Read it out loud. Congratulations. You're the Green Bay Packers nominee for the 2025 Walter Payton Man of the Year. Wow. Wow.
As a mother, to be able to share this moment where you guys announced to him that he's been nominated by the team for this special award was amazing to be a part of it.
Wow, what a surprise.
To be able to share this moment with him, it's incredible. It's something that he'll always put on everybody. He won't accept it for himself, but he'll say it's the work of everyone around him. It's just so cool to see that people appreciate and notice the work that he's been doing.
And I think just the way I was raised, my parents always instilling in us that mindset to not only think of us, but to think of others. My mom's kept me grounded in that way to try and keep giving back and keep helping others out.
He's faced a lot of hardship in his life. For him to be recognized for something he's doing behind the scenes and off the field, it definitely makes me proud.
I am so proud of Jordan. I'm so happy for him, and I know he's proud too.
Thank you, Jordan.
Animals need friends. For a list of 10 easy things you can do to brighten their lives, please write People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. That's Peter, Norfolk, Virginia, 23510. Thanks.
Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1977.
In February of 77, 60s band leader Manfred Mann has a new band and scores a U.S. #1 hit with the cover of Bruce Springsteen's song Blinded by the Light. In March, Foreigner released their debut album. It goes to #4 in the U.S., driven by 2 top 10 singles, Cold as Ice and Feels Like the First Time. Philadelphia blue-eyed soul duo Hall & Oates have their first U.S. #1 with Rich Girl from their 5th album, Bigger Than the Both of Us. Fleetwood Mac's album Rumors is released. It's their second #1 album in a row in the U.S., dominating the charts at #1 for 31 weeks. It spawns 4 top 10 singles, including the #1 Dreams.
When the rain washes you clean, you know.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1977. Coming up. iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to reflect on a day in the life of writing and producing the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album in France.
We all stayed at the Shadow in bedrooms, along with my producer, Gus Dudgeon, and Bernie, who wrote the lyrics. And I used to get up, and same time as Bernie, I went down to breakfast. Bernie would be typing, not Bernie Taupin, and he would give me a lyric. And I would have my breakfast, and I would have a croissant, and wander over to the electric piano. We had our instruments set up around the breakfast table, a guitar amp, a bass amp, and a drum kit, and the electric piano, and a mic. And I would sit down and write a song to those lyrics. Hence, then, could I wake the band up, because I'd be playing and singing, and they'd come down and having their breakfast, or even before they started, they would join in, and we would write the song straight away. After we'd finished, we'd go straight over to the other side. Maybe we write 2, but mostly 1. Start the day off with a song, and I'd go off to the other side of the courtyard to the studio and record the song, and then write in the studio.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
On this this hot take hump day in the good land. 877-794-1973. You've heard our hot takes. Let's have yours. Hit us with them. NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. You got a hot take on the winter whites the Packers are going to wear on a 60-degree day in Denver on Sunday?
So we get another whiteout.
Yeah, winter whites and 60 degrees.
Isn't that the jersey that Jordan Love has been exceptional in? I think he has.
I don't pay attention to that stuff, but
I think I saw that.
Not sure. Thing about Jordan Love,
called the whiteouts.
He's also really good when people blitz him too, and the Broncos are good at getting pressure on quarterbacks. So Broncos are just good. It was 2 years ago? It was 24 in that when they had that controlled scrimmage in the exhibition game.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember everybody saying that the Broncos just whomped them. Like they cleaned
they cleaned
up.
Yeah. Well, and they beat them a couple of years ago.
Man, Broncos are good. No doubt.
Yeah. So I guess prime time. Yeah, he's done pretty well when it comes to wearing those all white jerseys. 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, a passer rating of 124.9. This technically won't be prime time, but
yeah,
it's 325. So I don't think Jordan Love needs a white uniform in order to be really good because he's just been really good this year.
He is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan hit us on the talking text line, and this was from yesterday, but he's not wrong. He said the Broncos defense is legit. The Broncos offense is not. So I'm wondering how well the Packers defense is going to disrupt their offense. And maybe we just have to score 15 to 20 points to win.
Yeah. I mean, that could be a route to victory. The Packers defense is really good.
Not a bad take. By the way, the Packers had everybody at practice today except for Josh Jacobs.
Interesting.
He was riding a bike and doing other stuff, but he was not participating. But so 52 of 53 guys on the field. Lucas Van Ness back practicing.
Okay.
Marshawn Lloyd back practicing.
Okay.
I mean, there's, will he have an impact? Will he be activated? I don't know.
Who knows?
But they were back. And as we mentioned, we'll listen to Matt LaFleur later in the program. But this, for a team that had an early bye, and with the caveat they've lost Devontae Wyatt and Tucker Kraft, right now they're pretty healthy. But I'm wondering, and that's again on Hot Take Hump Day, you saw the Packers defense get worn down in that stretch of the game against Chicago. Now they're going to play a game at altitude.
True.
And the bye is way in the rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Will fatigue and attrition, there's always injuries, but will fatigue be a factor for the Packers?
Could be.
In these important last 4 games.
Could be. I mean, you get to this point of the season. Carl Brooks told you guys on Packers OT that, nobody's got fresh legs at this point of the year when you're going into week 15.
Well, Jaden Reed does.
You're right.
The guy's
unless
coming back.
You missed most, right? Exactly. Unless you missed most of the season, but yeah, I think it could be a factor. I think it could be a factor down the stretch. That's if you can somehow squeeze your way into that 1 seed, get an extra week before the playoffs begin, it wouldn't hurt this time of year. But really, it was only it felt like, well, maybe that last drive. I was going to say really only that 17 play drive. You could tell guys were tired left and right. Now, the last drive of the game, they were a little more refreshed. But I think, they need to be careful here when it comes to the Mile High City and the altitude. And because this defense has been, when they're on, they're on. And I think a lot of it comes down to, and they almost were at this point against the Bears and they were at times, but you want to get to one more. They're up 14-3. You go up 21-3. Then the Bears are in full pass mode. That's where the Packers are best because then they can just pin their ears back and roll.
Yep.
So if you can somehow get that to work and then, force the Broncos to have to pass, you're going to be in good shape, I think.
The injured reserve guys are all practicing. Marshawn Lloyd, Colin Oliver, and Brenton Cox.
Okay.
So they opened their 21-day practice window 10 days ago. So it's got to be decision time getting for those guys. Dontavian Wicks had the bad ankle. He's out practicing today. He played 5 or 6 snaps against Chicago.
Yeah.
He clearly was not healthy.
No.
When they throw a touchdown to Bo Melton, you know that Wicks was,
right
out, and Golden played 5 snaps and had 1 target.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys were compromised. Now they're both practicing today, both participating. Savion Williams was out for the Bears game, and he's had a foot injury, but he's back at practice. He's missed 2 games. Christian Welch, who has had a concussion and did not play in the Bears game, and special teams specialist, he's back at practice. And then the big one to me is Van Ness, because he's had this foot injury. He missed 5 games, came back against the Vikings, played 6 snaps, hurt it again, and now he's been out for 2 games.
Right.
So I still think getting him back, for some reason, I think getting him back makes Gary better.
Sure. And trying to somehow, by committee, replace what Devontae Wyatt was giving you, right? And Lucas Van Ness coming back can only help that.
Yeah, Van Ness was good against the run, too.
That's also big.
Yeah.
Because you have pass rushers, but being able to stop the run has been, at times, a tough task for the Packers.
Yep. Mark from Sun Prairie said, we need the defense to get turnovers.
That's big.
Yeah, well, they sealed the game with one on Sunday against Chicago. And yes,
you knew Caleb Williams was going to give you a chance at some point.
They do.
And
they do need to get turnovers. They need to, I'm still like, there are still people who say the Packers defense stunk against the Bears in the second half. They were so dominant in the first half. And then again, we talked about it. They had the offense, complementary football. They went 3 and out, scored in 4 plays, and went 3 and out. And that's when the Bears had their 17-play drive. That's the only time they really ran the ball. But they didn't give up explosive runs.
No.
The longest run was 9 yards, but they were giving up 5 yards a carry. Is that sustainable? It's not ideal.
Right.
But when they needed to, they made the plays. Inagbari on 3rd and 1, and Keyshawn Nixon on 4th and 1.
Yep.
So, was it a good hang it in the Louvre defensive play? No, but in the second half,
Yeah, I don't walk away from that second half concerned about the defense. I still think this defense is one of the top in the league, and Micah Parsons made it that way when he came in, and so I think Ryan on YouTube saying this defense is anything but elite. They don't get off the field. I don't know about that. I look at the first half. I mean, I don't know. I think when you're facing a good team, they're probably going to put together a drive or two. They just are, because they're a good football team. And as much as we don't like to say it, I think the Bears are. And so they're probably going to put together a drive. Now, 17 plays is quite something. And when you have an opportunity to get off the field multiple times and you can't, I get what you're saying, Ryan. But overall, I still trust this defense. And the second half does not make me turn away from that.
Interestingly, I was looking at something on the Athletic. They kind of have a projection of the way the standings are going to go from where they are now to where they're going to be. And they're projecting the Packers to finish 11-5-1, which would have them going 2-2 in their final 4 games, and still have them finishing at that mark as the number 2 seed.
Wow, by going 2-2.
Yeah, being 11-5-1.
Okay.
Got the Eagles. They have the Eagles at 11-6.
Okay.
And the Buccaneers at
that tiebreaker is going to help them.
It is going to end up helping them. But they have Denver at 11-2 right now, going 14-3. And Denver is projected by them to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. I'm sorry, the number 2 seed behind the Patriots, who they have as Patriots 14-3, Denver 13-4. So I guess they're calling for Denver to go 2-2 as well. So that begs the question: do the Packers?
Who do
beat
they
Denver?
think is? Yeah.
Like if the Packers, who are the Packers going to lose to? Are you afraid of the Ravens? Like this game Sunday is going to be tough. The Ravens game won't be easy. The Bears game is not going to be easy by any stretch, but I still think the Packers can win that.
The only one that might be easier is the Vikings. But.
Yeah. So what do you think the Packers are going to do in their final 4? 3-1?
Yeah. I think they have 1 loss left.
I think if they lose Sunday, they'll beat the Bears and then run the table?
Yep.
All right. Well, what if they win Sunday? Where's the loss coming? Against
Possibly
the Bears?
the Bears, yeah.
There's such coin flips right now.
I know. We have breaking news out of college football. What interesting timing for this. Michigan has fired head coach Sharon Moore.
What?
Michigan, according to multiple reports here, has fired their head coach. What?
Are they about to go on suspension or something?
Well,
or
right.
what?
Like it, that there's been, that kind of cloud hanging over the Michigan football program for a little while. But boy, the cycle just seemed to be ending with Matt Campbell finally filling the vacancy at Penn State and now an opening at Michigan.
Holy smokes.
Wow.
I find that flabbergasting.
Yeah, that is according to
especially with
anybody
the timing.
and everybody here. Right. The timing makes no sense.
There's got to be a scandal here or something.
Pete Thamel says the firing is set to be for cause.
Wow.
That is a story.
What's the scandal? For cause. Did he act inappropriately?
Right.
Did he? Oh, man.
Is set to be for cause.
That's a blockbuster. And you're right. At this point in the cycle, what does that do with recruiting, with the portal?
Right.
Holy cow.
That's right. It does feel like it would make sense that it's for cause, that maybe something happened in the last, I don't know, couple of weeks. But usually those things, if something happens like that, usually it's reported on and then Michigan comes out with a statement, we're looking into it, and then they fire. That's usually how that kind of goes. It's not the firing and then you maybe find out. I don't know. Yeah, Sherrell Moore out at Michigan as their head coach.
They're getting ready to face Texas, right?
Is that who they got in the bowl game?
I think so.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They're going to the Citrus Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Holy cow. That's one of those that gets completely out of left field to me. It's got to be a scandal of some kind.
I would think so.
There's no reporting yet, but they're saying it's for cause.
That's what Pete Thamel said. It's set to be for cause.
All right. Well, I'm sure Luke Fickell and company are making calls to the players on the Michigan team.
You're right. Let's
rate it.
Strike while the iron's hot here.
Let's rate it and let's go. Hey, come one, come all. If you're an upgrade over what we got, come on to Madison.
Wow.
Holy cow. That is definitely a blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Good on that, Hunter. All right, we're getting close to 4:00. Our buddy Adam Pawlak will join us. We're going to be living the high life. So if you have any questions regarding food, the restaurant industry, what to make, how to prepare things, Adam loves that stuff. He's got an event coming up at his restaurant, Egg and Flour, that we'll talk about. He's got a lot of stuff happening. Always. That's why we live the high life with our buddy Adam Pawlak. That's coming up after 4:00. And I think he will join us. When he joins us, he's going to come armed with a story for 420, which we like. Could be his debut. Adam Pawlak coming up at 4:00. It's Drew and Hunter in the afternoon.
Hit me where I'm weak, baby. I couldn't breathe and rub it in so deep. Salt in the wound like you're laughing right at me. Should I stay or should I go?
Will Giannis stay or will Giannis go?
Giannis has not gone up and said
An earthquake in Big Ten football and in national college football. University of Michigan firing their coach, Sharon Moore.
Wow.
For cause.
For cause, Michigan announces that Sharon Moore has been fired for cause. Quote, following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy.
Oh, my.
Wow.
So here's the thing. When you're an athletic director or whether you're GM, you're always thinking about your player roster and stuff, but you also have to have a short list of guys if something happens to your coach. You think they have a guy in mind?
I do wonder if it's going to be an in-house name.
That's the easiest thing. Elevate someone from the staff now.
Yeah.
But is there someone outside that you've had your eye on?
Will Lane Kiffin go to Michigan? 877-794.
Oh, good God. Can you imagine, like, we thought you mentioned it, we thought the carousel had stopped.
Right. And now.
And if they don't know who they're going to get quickly, they're in trouble.
Right.
Because
you're right.
They're going to have guys, decommit. They're going to have guys enter the portal.
Yeah.
It's way more fraught right now than it would have been 5 years ago.
True. Yeah.
So Michigan and Michigan State will each be on their third head coach in 4 years. And both programs will have a coach fired for cause.
Wow.
That is a blockbuster.
It is. And again, like you mentioned, it's the timing of all of it. And it's the way college football is going right now, where the cycle really stops. I mean, championship week. I mean, everything usually happens very quickly. Everything becomes done. And all of a sudden you're in a situation where everybody is where they're going to be because the transfer portal's open and people want to recruit at their new spot. And the schools want these coaches to come in and recruit at their spots and the whole deal. So, wow. But Michigan is kind of going to be set behind in that. And you got to think, like you said, that Luke Fickell and the staff at Wisconsin are like,
wow.
It's like the Grinch.
Here's one.
Does the Grinch do that?
From the X. Watch for LA Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter to get some attention. He's a Michigan guy. He's young, talented, very respected. The biggest problem is he might be more interested in a future as an NFL head coach instead. That gets into the whole, what's a better job?
Right.
With recruiting the portal, because this is right after the week after National Signing Day. You fire your coach.
That's yikes.
And then the portal's going to open and they're going to be flooded with guys that are,
Reports are saying that it's been an investigation for a few weeks. Too late in the cycle, really. But obviously, when something like that gets brought to the forefront, then it takes a little while to get the evidence in. But they have enough evidence to let them go.
Holy cow.
Which obviously a Michigan job is one of the top in college football, obviously.
Yeah, no question.
So people are going to want that job.
Oh, boy, I wonder.
But who's available at this point?
Has Dave Portnoy been reached for comment yet?
Yeah, he said he just got out of the shower. I saw his video pop up. Literally, he's like, I went, took a shower, came back out, and Sharon Moore was fired. What did I miss?
Holy cow.
Well,
cow. That's a blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, Badgers fans, life just got better. Yeah. But the thing is, if they fired him for cause, it won't cost them a lot. No. So it'll be a little, it'll be palatable financially. Well, they'll come to some kind of settlement. That is a blockbuster. That is a holy cow moment. Michigan firing Sharon Moore with cause for an inappropriate relationship. When we come back, our buddy Adam Pawlak's going to join the party. We will live the high life with him. We'll celebrate 420, which we love to do on the show. And we'll take your food questions at 877-794-1973. Get ready to live the high life. You are listening and enjoying the Drew and Hunter experience on this Wednesday in the good land. The bearded one is coming up. Don't go anywhere. In fact, tell your friends to turn us on. It's Drew and Hunter.
Welcome to Drew and Hunter in the afternoon. Sit back, relax, and drive home with the guys as they talk sports and stuff with you.
Anybody ever do a first date at a Packer game?
Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Just search Drew and Hunter. Hit us up on the NicolayLaw.com talk and text line at 877-794-1973.
I'm on team text.
Now, along with Hunter Baumgart, here is Drew Olson.
Continuing to dominate a Wednesday in the good land, Drew and Hunter. Special guest in the studio here, our buddy Adam Pawlak, to live the high life, presented by Miller High Life, the champagne of beer since 1903. How's it going, Chef?
I'm here. I'm sitting in KB's grave right now.
Yeah, we've moved seats a little bit. I need direct eye contact with Hunter.
It doesn't feel right, but we're here. We're going to do him
Yeah,
justice.
the ghost of Wink McAllister hovers over the studio this week. But good to see you, my man.
Thanks for having me still.
Thanks for living the high life with us. Oh, you're part of the roster now. Man.
Yes.
It's like the mafia. You can't
Once
get in
you're
until
in,
you
you
get
can't
clipped.
get out.
Unless you get clipped.
Yeah.
But we'll take some food questions for Adam at 877-794-1973. The first question for you, Chef, as proprietor of Egg and Flour Restaurant, greateffingpasta.com in Bayview. We've had a lot of people tell us, and they tell us on the text line, oh, I went to that place because you guys talk about it. It was really good. Duh.
That's awesome.
KB
we need
was-
more people to come. And I was just going to say, gift certificates we have. That's a really good thing.
It's a good stocking stuffer.
That is a good one.
And
that keeps on giving until it runs out.
KB and Miss Sue visited over the weekend, and he's raving still about the caprese salad.
I know.
He said better than he got in
surprised,
Italy.
Yeah, you hear that? And KB doesn't lie.
No, not at all. That's pretty amazing. And so all the pasta is amazing as well. But my question for you as an employer, company Christmas party. I saw it on the social.
Last night.
The Egg and Flour Christmas party. What was on the menu? What was the activity? What'd you do?
Well, we supported local as many ways as we could. So we got a bunch of pizza and stuff like that from Classic Slice Pizza in Bayview. And then we trucked down to Bayview Bowl. And we got like 4 games in and just hung out and did bowling.
Bowling with the pasta staff.
That's what they want to do. I always ask them what they want to do because I don't care.
You're just picking up the tab.
Yep. Yeah.
So what a great boss. We went bowling and had pizza and drank
There you
beers.
go.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Bunch
Happy
of high
holidays.
life.
So is this like a tradition or is it like
We do a once a year one, we do a holiday one. And then we try to do like one in the summertime, like we've gone to the zoo or something together just to keep the morale up, but they like it and I don't mind it. I think it's fun to see the people outside of work.
and to wear different shoes.
Yeah, right.
Wear somebody
different
else's shoes.
outfits. You get to see who they're like outside of work.
Now, if you're listening to us and you would like some delicious pasta to entertain your employees for the holiday season or bring them into the restaurant,
yes.
could they still book like a pasta making class between now and the holidays? Make that
We
happen?
don't have anything between now and then, but they can if they go to www.chefadampavlak.com. That's my private thing. They can send an email through there, and I do a lot of stuff with that. But a really exciting thing for people that are watching that are in the Milwaukee area, or they want to take a drive and hang out for the night. Next Wednesday, we have a celebrity chef coming from Chicago. His name is Joe Sasto. He has been on Food Network a bunch of times, Chopped Judges, Tournament of Champions. He's been on Top Chef. He is awesome, the pasta man. He's coming to Egg and Flour December 17th, all day, all night, doing a pasta special. He has a brand new book out that you can get signed by him and pick up one of his books and get his pasta special and hang out with us and be part of history.
Be rubbing shoulders.
Yeah, with the pasta legend.
How did you meet him?
I met him years ago when he was on Top Chef, and we were gonna do something, but he lived in San Francisco at that point, so it was a little just more difficult. And now that he's in Chicago, a little bit more centered, he's been doing his book tour and stuff, and we've always stayed in touch on social media. And I was like, hey, why don't you come? Now that you're close, you can come. We'll make it worth it for you. Marcus Hotels sponsored his rooms.
Outstanding.
He'll be at St. Kate while he's here. He's coming in from Sunday to Thursday. So he's going to get to see a little bit of what we do here and hang out.
I was going to say, you're going to take him on the circuit?
I don't know. He
Birch
doesn't
Carnivore.
like to do a lot of stuff when he is just, he likes his chill time. He'll be with his wife and he's bringing his dog. So they'll probably find things to do and hang out. I know he doesn't go too crazy, but maybe we'll do a dinner or something one of the nights.
Like that.
Yeah.
Questions for Adam, 877-794-1973. Get you the NicoletLaw.com talk.
Any questions
And
about
text line
anything?
About anything.
Jeff in Brown Deer has a question.
Jeff
for you.
and Brown Deer, welcome to Drew and Hunter. You got a question for the chef?
Drew and Hunter.
I do.
Here we go.
Something that I see people do this is something that I see people do all the time, and it kind of makes me crazy. You tell me if I'm right to be crazy about it, if it's a food safety issue.
Okay.
People are making, say, brats, and they pick up the raw brat with the tongs, and they put it on the grill, and then they keep using that tongs, and then they serve the brat with the tongs that they use to pick up the raw brat or raw chicken or raw whatever with.
Yeah, so brats.
Is that a problem?
So brats, I'm not like the craziest about just because it has a casing, but I mean, it should not be, a different tong should be used. You're absolutely correct.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to check with a professional.
There you go.
I wouldn't kill yourself over it. I would just call them out. And then when they get embarrassed, then they'll never do it again.
There you go. Jeff, thank you for the call. 877-794-1973. Is it as simple as just taking them and wiping them off with a paper towel?
I mean, you can do Sani, which is like 100. It's like 98% water and 2% bleach, and just put in a squeeze bottle and either dip them in there or whatever. It's Sani bucket, and just sanitize it. At least it'll
when I'm
kill
cooking
everything.
on the Blackstone, when I'm preparing stuff, I generally start wearing the gloves.
The only thing I worry about when I'm with food and that is old seafood and raw chicken.
Raw chicken.
Everything else I'm not scared
Raw chicken is a germ bomb, right?
Yeah,
It's
my
just like
body
just
is
germs
built
everything.
for germs.
Yeah, well,
That sounds
that's
awful,
a drop.
but
That's a drop.
I
Hey,
eat-
ladies.
I'm saying I
he's
eat-
got that on his Tinder
I
profile.
eat rare meat. I eat medium rare pork. I eat sushi. Like everything that like the world says don't do. I do it.
I've often said that I have kind of a cast iron stomach too. I like really
Yeah.
spicy stuff, and
I didn't mean germs on the outside. I'm a very hygienic,
Yes,
healthy
cook.
person.
Yeah, but when it comes to that, you're not a zealot
food
about it.
world.
But that
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
good question. But I will wear the gloves, and if I have to touch something that I'm not sure, I always have the hand sanitizer nearby.
Sure, why not?
Because
it's easy to cleanse everything.
Otherwise, just like to do that.
It's the chicken one. That's the only one that you can actually get sick from.
Yeah. All right. So Brian in Green Bay has a question for you.
Let's go.
He wants to know, what's the most challenging dish that you've mastered and what makes it difficult to make?
Challenging dish. I don't think it's always about everything you got to do for the dish that makes it challenging. I think the technique and like doing it the correct way. So like I always say, like my braised short ribs, everyone makes that, or chuck roast, whatever, but I just do it the right way where it's done correctly. It's really nice. And then obviously beef Wellington is up on the top.
That's a
just
complex.
A lot of
the
steps.
flavors and the steps and that.
The hardest step is to make sure that there's the most least moisture in that dish as possible. That's the goal. If you're looking to make a beef Wellington, is no moisture in the mushrooms, no moisture in the beef. Making sure that the puff pastry is wrapped super tight so none of the moisture gets out, and baking it and all that kind of stuff. But beef Wellington is a tough one.
Mark from Sun Prairie replies on the NicoletLaw.com talking text.
Here we go.
877-794-1973. Those brats should have been boiled in beer for an hour beforehand, so you don't have to worry about germs on the tongs.
An hour?
Well, you're not worried about germs on the tongs anyway because of the casing. You're not that big a zealot about the brats themselves.
Well, whoever said brats need to boil in beer for an hour should not be cooking anything.
Don't cook anything.
Not for an hour.
No. You
could cook a shoe for an hour and I'd probably eat it.
I'm anti parboiling because I've talked to high-ranking officials from Clements, Usingers, and Johnsonville, and they all said there is no need to parboil.
Well, the
brats.
reason people
Put them
do it is
on the
because
grill.
they're scared. But what I say is your brat will be amazing as long as the casing does not get broken.
Yeah.
That's all you're looking for.
But if you have them on the grill, cook them low and slow, and you want to put them in a warm beer and onion bath for flavor and stuff. After where people can, when they're serving themselves,
Yes.
perfect. But it does not, it's an old like German thing. Like my grandma used to boil everything she made and it was gross.
Yeah.
Soft, mushy, everything. Like they don't boil, like, do it. You don't need it.
You know what I say,
I'm gonna
Hunter?
die on that hill because I've talked to you.
Now that KB's not here, I'm going to ask you, you know what I say? Who cares?
Yeah, you do you.
You do whatever you want.
Yes.
All right.
You eat broccoli and pork casings, don't you? You eat
Not
broccoli
in
dogs?
pork casings, but yes, I had broccoli for lunch.
Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
He hates us when we talk about brats. He's probably getting sick of it.
No, I love brats.
Yes. Some of these questions, I wonder if they're a troll because they've been asked before.
That's fine. Let's do it.
Adam in Sheboygan, I'm Zach in Sheboygan. Adam, what's your favorite way to make venison?
I mean, we get that a lot. I don't think it's a troll. I don't do it a lot, but like a venison tenderloin, I like it in a tartare. So raw actually is really good and adding good flavor to that. But a venison tenderloin is as far as I've really gone, or like even like a rib roast on the venison.
And it's just like creating another meat. It's like braising
often,
or it's like any other, you treat it like any other.
Yeah,
cut,
like the
right?
beef. Yeah, I can go a little bit more rare with it actually. It's a little bit more lean.
Yeah. All right. Here's one from Drew in a studio.
Not you.
From me.
Oh, here we go.
How do you control? Because when I watch a lot of like TikToks and stuff and on culinary skills and knife skills and like chopping vegetables and stuff. And like a lot of it is it seems like when I watch the really good chefs, they do it and there's not a lot of waste. But I know that in the restaurant industry, food waste is a big thing because the margins are small. So how do you eliminate wasting stuff when you're chopping stuff or in the kitchen? And how can that be the difference between a profitable restaurant and a restaurant that struggles?
I don't know if it's the difference of it. There's a lot of things that are the difference in the restaurant, but good training and teaching someone how to break something down or whatever, then using scraps for stocks or for other things or for fillings or whatever you want or something like that. There's going to be waste at some point. We all know that, and it's very unfortunate, but there's a very rare or small number of restaurants in the world that have 0 to 1 or 2% waste factor in there. But it's all about training and just doing things the right way, and teaching people how to not waste it and how to use the whole vegetable or the whole protein or whatever you're dealing with. But it makes me mad when I see people doing it the wrong way.
I believe it. When they have like a chef special sometimes, isn't that like sometimes concocted from the leftover stuff from the night before?
That used to be a big thing. I don't know how that is nowadays, how common that is. Well, but yeah, the chef special was like, hey, the salmon's turning. Let's just put it on special.
Put it on special. Let's get rid of it. Let's move it.
Yeah. I don't think that's like that too much anymore,
and
depending where you're
at your
going.
better restaurant, stuff's cooked to order. Like you worry about that with buffets. Like, is this, if I'm at a Chinese buffet or something, and is this rice from Tuesday?
I worry about it for multi-run sporting events. Are those hot dogs getting reheated?
Oh, are those hot dogs?
Chicken sandwiches, burgers.
Do you want the hot dogs from the beginning of the homestand or at the end of a 10-day homestand when they've been cycled through? At the beginning of a homestand, they might be from the last one.
You never know.
That you don't know. You're taking a chance on that. Yeah. Tom in Grafton. Adam, what is the best way to roast a whole beef tenderloin?
Okay, so I rub that down, get it marinating or dry rub for up to 2 days. And then what I like to do is pan sear it or grill it first, get some good markings on it, and then in the oven at 450 on a sheet tray until when you're pressing on both sides of it with your fingers, it's a little firm. It's not like doesn't feel like Jell-O. It's not bouncing up and down on the sheet tray, but a little bit more firm.
Gotcha. Since this segment is sponsored by Miller High Life, the champagne of beer since 1903.
Whenever you're cooking, have a High Life in hand.
Well, that's a good
call. It makes
call.
the food way better.
But what about other than brats? What can you use with beer for a reduction or to add flavor? Because there are some people that do that. There are beer dinners, there's pairing dinners, but to use beer in cooking, what are the secrets?
I mean, you could use beer in a risotto, which would be very Wisconsin-like. I've never done in my life, but I'm just coming up with it now. Our segment's coming up in 5 minutes, and I think that's why.
By the way,
beer cheese soup,
I
legendary.
just saw a video of you making beer cheese soup, and it looked amazing.
It actually went pretty viral. I was excited that people were that happy, and it was an easy recipe. If people don't know what we're talking about, you can easily go to Instagram, Adam_PAWLAK23. Hit the bell for me.
Yeah, let's get some more followers.
You can watch the beer cheese soup video that went viral. I think Kim Kardashian liked it. I'm just kidding. I was like,
what? I wouldn't be surprised.
Awesome.
She's never had beer cheese soup in her life. She's probably never had beer or
She's had
cheese.
beer. No, she's had beer for sure.
She has? You think?
But yeah, go on the Instagram and start following. And there's tons of it. Like a lot of people are listening. They like to cook. So if you want cooking ideas or you want really fun recipes, I'm doing videos that the videos are 20 to 30 seconds. The recipes in the bio, it's super easy to follow along. We're describing everything. And they're really, really good dishes. This is not amateur cooking. This is not dumbed down for people to make at home. It's just how I would do it and show them exactly how to do it. So follow the Instagram.
Okay. After watching The Bear and seeing stuff, I'm wondering, as a restaurant owner, how are kitchen conflicts resolved? I know that, Jeremy Allen White's character, Scene, you had that kind of unwritten, like, we're both mad, but let's table this and keep our cool and keep grinding. How do you keep that when I used to work in the newspaper business, and around deadline, it would get pretty heated, and guys I saw one guy throw a phone at another coworker.
Yeah.
That would have got you fired, but that was 25 years ago when you could do stuff like that.
And you didn't have phones?
It was desk phone. It was a heavy, Ma Bell, the kind that if you slammed it down, it would like make the ringing sound.
Yep.
He like threw a phone.
Yeah, what I always say if I hear that anything's up, like at the restaurant that I run or whatever, is I try to get the people together and the number one thing is when they tell me what's wrong or what the drama is or the beef, I go, that's what you're worried about in life?
That's what you're mad about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have no problem getting them together and be like, this is so stupid. And it just makes for work to be crappy then.
But yeah, some people they come in with that kind of.
Well, that's just toxic.
Everybody has bad days, but
yeah,
some
I know.
people,
that's the thing. I always tell people leave your problems at home.
When you're talking to somebody and they've worked in 10 kitchens,
yep.
Do you think to yourself, well, he's got a lot of experience, he's been around a lot of people, or do you think this guy might be the problem because he worked at 10 places?
I mean, it depends. What are the places? How long was he at those places for? If someone's at 10 places and every place they were at was a year and a half or longer, it's not that bad. That just means that they're jumping around. But
because the restaurant industry and anything, even fast food, everything, the turnover rate is high for employees. People, they come and go. Right. But you have had some long-term.
Yeah, we have a lot of great success and a lot of good employees and people that have really made it what
it's because you take them bowling for the Christmas party.
That's right. And unlimited pizza. We ordered pizza for probably 20 and there was 9 of us.
Did you crush it all?
No. They got to take a lot home.
All right. Here's another one that we get a lot from the 262.
Here we go.
This is Andy in East Troy. Best type of material for pans: cast iron, stainless steel.
It all depends on what you are cooking. So that's not like a general statement, but it just depends what you're cooking. And I say is make sure the pans are clean, make sure the pans are hot, and make sure you know what you're doing, or you're going to hate something for no reason.
Pretty sage advice. I have been fascinated because most of the chefs I see on TV are using stainless steel stuff, and I don't have a stainless steel.
Yeah.
Like a, for frying an egg or something. I want to try.
If you want some pans, a good thing. If anyone's going to go buy Christmas gifts for Drew, wink, wink, Hunter, if you're going to buy him a good holiday gift.
Taking notes.
Made in pans. MADEIN.
That's where I was going to go to get me the saute pan, like the.
Well, get more than 9-incher. One. Jesus.
All right,
Drew.
So get what do I need?
I don't know.
What's
get
the
a couple.
Set? A 9, a 12?
Probably a 12, 10, and an 8.
12, 10, and 8. Okay.
Pretty standard, I think.
And the secret to stainless steel cooking, though, is
super
get it hot,
as
make sure
hot
the water dances.
Yeah,
like
we
mercury.
talked about this. Yeah, and it kind of goes away.
And then
stainless steel won't work if it's not.
And when the food releases, that's when it's time to turn.
Always. That's how I say for grilling, for anything. When the food releases on its own, you know it's ready.
All right. So there you have it. Andy, thank you for the message. 877-794-1973. I like the beer, the braising beer and the beer suggestions, but wine's a huge part of cooking too. Do you have like an egg and flour dishes? Do you have a preferred, is it sherry? Is it white? Is there a
for vinegars
red or what?
There is some for vinegars. For wine, it's just, we always say just wine that you would drink. So it's not too sweet or it's not too dry or whatever, it's just like putting good ingredients into your dish. Why would you have the best mushrooms or the best beef you can get, and then you're putting Sutter Home into it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
you got to just treat any ingredient going into your recipe that it should be the best or the most flavorful or whatever it is. But
then a lot of people are just, if I'm going to buy a $20 bottle of wine, I want to drink it. I don't want to pour it on my food.
Well, there's a lot of dishes that they call for wine and I'm not going to think about it right now. I'm kind of putting myself on the spot, but I don't think there's so many dishes out there that people are cooking at home that you can't just like leave the wine out and it's not going to like make it super bad.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
420.
I know it's 420.
Oh, it's 420.
Hey,
my
baby,
favorite
everything stops
time.
on the Drew and Hunter Show at 420 as we pay homage to our pals at happyplacehemp.com. Rob and Chris working out of Muskego. They got some legal hassles coming because there's debate about the codicil in the farm bill that made their products legal, but they're legal now.
Yep.
They're local.
Stock up now.
They shop. they ship everywhere in the state. Go to happyplacehemp.com. Use the code Drew and Hunter and get 25% off your order every time you go to the well. Check them out. Happyplacehemp.com.
Yeah.
Adam, you got a 420 story for us? You got one?
Yeah, I have one that just came up today, and it was it's something that I didn't hate too much, but it does fit what this segment is. And this lady went to one of those restaurants where like you order and you like the person comes out to your car and gives you the food or whatever. It wasn't so much of a drive-through, it was like a handoff. And the person came with the food and she pulled it out and her kids are eating and she starts eating and they're like, all right, this is the bill or whatever. And she gives a card and she's eating and then she's like, well, the card's not working. She's like, scan again. She's eating and she's like, it's not working. The card comes back and then she's like asking her kid like, hey, where's that money I told you to grab or whatever? And they're all eating or whatever. And what ended up happening is she never paid, but she was just stalling the person with fake funds
while they
were eating. And all that I have to say is if you go to a restaurant and get a bunch of food knowing that you don't have any money to pay for it, I just have to ask one thing. What are you, high?
420.
I love it.
Are you high? You're huffing
That's
grass.
it, Hunter.
That's it.
You
Rookie
gotta be.
mistake.
Clearly.
They probably
that's-
were high.
They might have been, but even then, that is
Jesus.
That's theft.
That's
a
theft,
crime.
brother.
That's a crime. Restaurants run on tight margins.
Yikes.
Yeah, I
You
don't
got
care
rent,
if it is
you've
a
got
fast food
electricity,
restaurant.
You got food costs. You got labor costs.
Jeez.
It doesn't matter. Pay your bill.
But you got to be high to do that one.
I don't know. How many people do you think have dined and dashed in their career? I think it used to be a bigger thing, but I remember guys when I was like in high school, like my friends who were older in college would talk about going to like a Denny's and then sprinting out and not paying the bill. I'm like, you're leaving the server with no tip and like the check, and it sucks.
That's a lot of work for a $6.99 Grand Slam. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, a lot of risk. You're committing a crime.
Right.
Defraud it. It's fraud. Whatever it is. It's
They're
fraud.
pulling a
It's
heist.
heist.
Literally a plate of pancakes.
It's theft.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. they're
I'm
pulling
glad
a
that I'm
heist.
surrounded with really well stand-up people.
Yeah.
Yes, we wouldn't leave you hanging.
Here at the
No
Drew
doubt.
and,
We would only pay. Yeah, we're only going to pay. Here's another one for you. And because I know you play drums, it kind of fits in that vein. When you get to a level as a chef, or even if you're the top, like, what is it? Like the line cook or somebody, you're top of the line. If you're at a place and you're established and you're at a restaurant and you make, like dishes all the time, how much time is there for experimentation and skill development? Like, how do you learn new skills? Imagine like a musician, if you're in a band and you play the same songs every night.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
a
how
lot
do you
of
get
it.
growth?
This is a lot of what I've done throughout my career that's helped is outside of that 50 or 55-hour work week that you're studying and working on things on your own. Depending on the restaurant that does a lot of research and development and cooking new recipes and bringing in new ingredients all the time, I think that's what you need to find if you want to really like excel and do that. It's like if you're playing in a basement band, you might not learn a lot, but if you're playing with a band that's going on tour and playing gigs all the time and they play a bunch of different songs or they're playing a lot of originals, you're probably going to be a better musician than the guy that's in the basement just ripping 80s rock songs all day. Just like if you're in a kitchen, if you want to learn a bunch of stuff and you're stuck at a place that just makes pizza, but you want to learn more, you got to surround yourself with the things and the equipment and the food and the people that will help you get better.
Have you ever dabbled in like sushi prep or rolling?
I've done
rolls?
sushi at home, maybe for a date or something, but I've never worked in a restaurant where I had to produce, large amounts of sushi. No.
When you look at guys who do, like I'm amazed at those guys. I'm also amazed at the hibachi guys. They're and the showmanship and stuff.
Maybe that's
always
my
fun.
retirement plan. I'm gonna go apply at
Outta here.
Benihana.
But I mean,
I'm older.
All right, but what is the gold standard? Like, there's your friend Kyle Nall is doing great things, and they're opening a new place and stuff. They do great things at Birch. But what is the standard? Like, is it the sushi guys, the intricacies and the art that they produce? Are they like the gold standard of like, those guys are, they're going to be good at what they do?
Well, it just depends where you're at and who's teaching them and how long they've worked. I mean, there's a show or a movie out there called Dreams of Jiro, and it's about a guy that has a sushi spot in New York, and he's been working for like 93 years or something crazy. And if you work at his spot for the first 3 years of being employed there, you only get to make rice.
Wow.
Nothing else. You don't get to touch any fish. You don't get to do anything. So
Paying
it's a
dues.
little bit different if you're rolling into a Whole Foods and grabbing a sushi roll or something. I'm sure those people touch the rice and everything day one. But again, just depends on the level. But it does take a lot of skill and consistency and knowing raw seafood and knowing how to handle it and combinations and
knife skills.
There's always good and bad of everything out in the world.
Yeah, I suppose. Like there are guys at diners who make just delicious stuff, routinely.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy food to be delicious. We know that.
And is that the one thing in Wisconsin that we're missing, where you can go, like when you go to New York and Jersey or Philly or stuff, you go to bigger cities like this, 24-hour diners that, all right, one guy wants pancakes. It's a little bit George Webby, but I want a chicken
Country
parm
fried
sandwich.
steak.
I want a country, and he wants like scrambled eggs and an omelet, and then he wants a meatloaf, and having those things where they can spin out those dishes.
It's tough. Those
at any
things are
time.
dying because the things are so expensive and the food waste and the menu is so big and everything becomes frozen, and then training people how to cook everything, and you can't charge an arm and a leg for a frozen chicken breast on a piece of bread, So it's like, I would love it. I would love a 24-hour diner. If anyone wants to team up and do all the work, I got the idea.
You got the idea. All right. He's an ideas man. The Drew and Hunter Show, where ideas go to die.
They do.
Yeah. We come up
We're
with them.
keeping that going.
Never. Yeah, that's a tradition unlike any other.
Yeah.
It'll
Adam,
continue.
Thank you for joining us today. Thanks to
Always.
Miller High Life.
Best
Good luck
beer.
a week from today. Is that when the chef's going to come be
We're
at Egg
going
and
on a
Flour?
little bit of a break.
Yes, we're taking a little break. So Adam will be he'll be dipping out till after the holidays, which is all good.
We'll have
stay
plenty
in
of
touch.
stuff to talk about. That return episode might have to be an hour.
Giddy up. We got the time. We got the place.
Nothing but time.
We got the
Be sure and check Adam Pawlak. Follow him on social because he definitely lives the high life. Take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to catch up with our buddy John Greenberg, president of the Admirals. He's up next.
The big guy.
Drew and Hunter.
Cinnamon Girl and Down by the River. The Who released the double concept album Tommy, which goes top 10 in the US and the UK. David Bowie's single Space Oddity, released to coincide with the Apollo 11 moon landing, reaches number 5 in the UK. Also in July, Bob Dylan has a top 10 hit with Lay Lady Lay in his new, deeper-sounding vocal style, which he attributes to quitting smoking.
Whatever colors you have in your mind, I'll show them to you, and you see them shine. Lay, lady, lay, play across my big brass bed.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears have a number 2 hit with Spinning Wheel, popularizing the so-called brass rock movement that includes BST, Chicago, and Electric Flag.
Drop all your troubles by the riverside. Catch a painted pony on the spinning wheel ride.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1969. Coming up. Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1975.
In September, the Isley Brothers have a #1 album, The Heat Is On, driven by the #4 single, Fight the Power. Alive is a 2-record live album that goes to #9 for Kiss. They released the single Rock and Roll All Night, which goes to #12. David Bowie switches to Philly Soul on the LP Young Americans, featuring the #1 single Fame, which was co-written by John Lennon. UK rock band Foghat have a top 20 hit with Slow Ride from the album Fool for the City. In October of '75, Pink Floyd released their follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here goes to #1 in the US and the UK.
What have we found? Same old fears. Wish you were here.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's happening, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off in 1968. Arthur Ashe becomes the first African-American to be ranked #1 in tennis. Also this week in 1968, Bobby Orr, who scored 10 hat tricks during his 12 seasons in the NHL, has his first career hat trick in his 3rd season in the league. More than 50 hats were tossed on the ice in celebration. This week in 1983 was the last NFL game played at Shea Stadium in New York. The Steelers beat the Jets 34-7. This week in 1992, the National Hockey League votes unanimously to expand to Anaheim, California, approving a new team, the Mighty Ducks. This week in 2006, Marvin Harrison of the Indianapolis Colts is the 4th player in NFL history with 1,000 receptions, joining Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, and Chris Carter. This week in 2010, Minnesota quarterback Brett Favre, at age 41, is sidelined by a throwing shoulder too damaged for even him to overcome. The injury ends one of the greatest individual streaks in all of sports. Favre had made 297 consecutive starts over 19 seasons. And this week in 2015, the Golden State Warriors need 2 overtimes to remain perfect on a very imperfect night and improve to 24-0 to start the season by outlasting the Boston Celtics 124-119. They would lose their next game.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
Rolling along, Drew and Hunter hanging out with you on this Hot Take Hump Day in the Good Land. 877-794-1973 to the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. If you call us right now, though, you might be on hold for a little bit because we're about to welcome El Jefe himself, president of the Milwaukee Admirals, longtime friend of the program, John Greenberg, is in the green room right now as Hunter puts him through. And now he joins us on line 1 of the talk and text line. Hi, Greenie.
Good afternoon. How we doing?
We're fantastic. What's happening in Admirals Land?
Well, we're getting ready for our first matchup with Grand Rapids tonight over there across the lake, and it's going to be a very interesting evening as they are 19-1-0-1. So we got this kind of a little bit of a measuring stick to see where we're at in comparison to them, and they haven't played us at all, so we'll see whether 19-1-0-1 means anything to our guys or not.
What are they, the Oklahoma City Thunder? I mean, come on.
Yes. Yeah, they seem to have it going. I've watched them play a few games, and they seem to know what they're doing out there. But again, we'll see what happens when our guys get out there. We've got a good team here too.
How many times are you going to play them this year?
12.
So this is the first of 12.
First of 12. So getting to know each other tonight, and then we've got them here for the first time for our first game after Christmas on December 27th. I bet you that's going to have a playoff feel to it. So, it's going to be a really fun rivalry throughout the whole year, I think.
All right. Well, 19-1 is impressive, but so is 12-6 to start the season with a young team.
I agree. And, we were joking. It's like, well, 19-1, 0-1 that's nice, but we were 19-0 at one point a few years ago, and we had that streak. So, you're still doing just fine, but not quite as good as us.
Where does that streak rank in the pantheon of great memories for you as in your term as president of the Milwaukee Admirals?
Oh, it's right up there. I mean, certainly my first year here, making it to the finals, and going through that whole experience is certainly right up there. But having a 19-game winning streak and just all the magic that kind of went with that, and the 19th game, just the electricity in the building and how we won that game is something that's going to stick with me for a long time.
John Greenberg, president of the Admirals, join us here. You're in a stretch of 7 of 8 games on the road that started last weekend, and the one outlier in that is the home tilt against the always hated but never feared Chicago Wolves Saturday night at Panther Arena.
It is, and we owe them for last weekend, which that was our first road losing weekend of the season. So we want to get back on the right swing of things tonight. But getting back home here on Saturday is going to be great. Taking on Chicago, first 4,000 fans, get a really fun T-shirt, the Admirals T-shirt, thanks to our friends over at Gruber Law Offices, and it's just going to be a fun night to be at the rink.
We always say that Admirals tickets make a great stocking stuffer. So does Admirals merch. You can find that at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com, but you can stop by the office and actually have it tactile. And if you're swinging around downtown, it makes sense to do that. What are the office hours to come in and buy some tickets or score some merch?
Sure. 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then on weekend game day. So this Saturday, we're open from 10 to 2. No, I'm sorry. That's not right. On Saturday, we're open from 12 to 4. So 12 to 4 on Saturday, if you want to swing by here. Our offices are located right between the arena and the Miller High Life Theater. There's a little half-circle drive between the two buildings, and you can park there and then take there's an elevator. When you come through the doors that are on the left side there, come through those doors, take the elevator to the lower level, and follow the Admirals logos to our office. So it's a nice, easy trip in, and free parking in that half circle. So come on and do some quick shopping and get your Christmas or Hanukkah gifts all squared away.
Absolutely. I mean, the merch is cool. Tickets are always fun. And it's people like experiences. Like, hey, let's do something 2 days after Christmas. Let's go see that Grand Rapids game with Pat McCurdy playing. Sounds like a plan to me.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And, it's always been kind of a magical thing, how we get to Christmas and it's like the light bulb goes on. It's like, hey, it's time to go to hockey games now. So, attendance picks up significantly. We're going to have a nice crowd here on Saturday night, and I hope people will come out this Saturday. But those games on the 27th and the 30th after Christmas are always kind of magical nights to kick off the second half of the season. I always like to call that the kind of the unofficial second opening night of the year.
Yeah, that is a good way to call it, and especially with those two games falling right between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of people have that time off there, so it's kind of perfectly timed to have those two home games leading up to the New Year's holiday.
It really is, and it's something every year when we put our schedule together. I will say that that game on the 27th of December was our number one request to the league that we get that date. Every team has to submit their schedule of dates by priority, and that one was number one because I knew everybody in the league coming out of the mandatory Christmas break in the league was going to turn that in as a high priority date. So it was number one for us, and grateful to the league for giving that one to us.
Is the mandatory break that entire week, or you can come back and play the 26th? Is that a date that was available? What does that entail? When do you have to be off?
Yeah. So every year the league has a vote, board of governors vote as to what the Christmas break is. It's either the 23rd through the 25th, so you can start on the 26th, or it's the 24th through the 26th, and you can start on the 27th. Most teams will look at the calendar and try and figure out, okay, when's a good time for us to give a break? Okay, we're not going to play on Monday, Tuesday, whatever. So this year on our calendar, we play in Texas next weekend, leading into Christmas. We fly back home here on the 21st. I think a lot of guys will land here and go get right on another plane and go home or go someplace warm. A lot of the Euros will go to Miami, and a lot of people head to New York. So people scatter around. Some people are able to actually get back to their homes, and then they're due back here for a practice session late in the day on the 26th. Grand Rapids will bus over here for they probably have a noon bus on the 26th, the bus over here to be ready to play on the 27th. But it really depends on how the calendar lays itself out. And we're grateful to have that Saturday. That's a really important date for us.
I think a lot of people be itching to get out because Christmas Eve is Wednesday, Christmas Day is Thursday. Friday, you kind of poke your head out, and then by Saturday, you're ready to step on it a little bit. That's the way my rhythm works anyway. By Saturday, you're ready to rock and roll just a little bit. Greeny, you mentioned something about the Board of Governors, and I'm wondering because you have your on-ice rivals, those teams that you want to beat, and the Coachella Valley perhaps comes to mind, or some of the other teams that you play a lot during the season. Are there rivalries in the Board of Governors meetings? Are there teams that are constantly a pain in the arse or that you don't vibe with? Do those meetings, do they ever get contentious to the point where somebody's got to hit a gavel and say, hey, let's be civil here. We're running a business. What are those meetings like? And are there flashpoints in those meetings?
Sure. Well, I could tell you from my perspective, I'm a lover, not a fighter. So when it comes to, so I get along with everybody. We sit in alphabetical order by team. So I'm between Manitoba and Ontario, I'm right in the middle of those two. And I get along with all the guys that are sitting around. Yes, there are some rivalries within the league where people, there could be an issue that there's no chance they're going to support something that somebody put out, as childish as that may sound from time to time. But there have been times where our league president has kind of had to call a coffee break so everybody could just take a 5-minute or 10-minute break to just kind of get it back together. And I would tell you that my 21 years in the league, and gosh, coming up on almost 100 Board of Governors meetings at that time, there have been 5 or 6 times where I've felt a little uncomfortable in the room, like, geez, these guys might really go at it here. But it's I would say that it really is a minimum. Everybody does understand, and I would say there is a mixture of business people and a mixture of hockey people, and there are times when those two areas don't gel on a decision that's getting made, and so the business side is like, well, no, we want to do this because we want to put another logo in a face-off circle because we can drive revenue and things like that. But then the hockey's like, no, we can't do that because for whatever reason they come up with that we can't do it. But our uniforms, I'm sure you guys have seen European hockey uniforms. It's NASCAR over there, with all the logos on the pants and everything else. And we won't do that. But putting an extra ice logo in a place that's not going to cause anybody to lose a puck or anything like that, I think is a very fair thing to try and argue over. And sometimes the hockey and the business don't agree on those things.
I find that interesting because I'm sure it's like 80% harmonious and you share information and you're all in the same business. Every market is different and every team has a different setup and probably different goals and ways that they deal with their fans. But I'm sure like, hey, that's a great idea. This promotion worked. Oh, we're going to steal that. We're going to do that at our place. Like it's probably more of that, right?
100%. Stealing is a form of flattery, right? Somebody has an idea and everybody gets on the phone with whatever team that is. And, it may be your entertainment department's talking to their entertainment department, or I'm following along the weekend and I see, like, gee whiz, these folks sold out. They don't normally do that. What were they doing? And you go and do a little bit of research, and I'll pick up the phone and call my counterpart at that team, and we'll talk, and I'll learn and figure out if it's something that we can be doing where we are. So there are always ideas that are getting shared. We're happy to share with each other, because the stronger the league is, the better off we all are. It's easier to spell sponsorship that way. It's easier to get rights fees from broadcasting. It's all those things are built upon the league being a success as a whole.
So last thing for you, Greeny, is I see that a week from today, you play at Rosemont, Illinois, and it's a school day game on the 17th. Like, that's probably the last, before the kids go on break or something. The Badgers just did one of those. They called it Education Day. The Badgers women's team played at home today, and the kids went nuts when they hit the 67th point. Go figure. That was the loudest cheer was when the Badgers women nailed a 3 to get to 67. Hunter played it before. But are those games, like, is it different, the dynamic for your players? Is it the same home and road? Like, it's going to be loud. You're going to be skating at a time when you're usually practicing, or is there any advantage or disadvantage to doing a school day game on the road as opposed to in your own barn?
I would say no, other than you might need to leave the night before for a situation to have to stay overnight and get up in the morning and go play, depending upon where those games are. I would tell you that game in Chicago, we're actually getting up that morning. And I suppose we'll be looking for the weather and making sure we're going to not run into any problems. But we have a 7:15 in the morning bus time to get down there by 8:45 or 9 o'clock to play an 11 o'clock game, and then hop back on the bus and come home. And then we're home, and then the next day we actually get on the plane and go to Texas. So it gives the guys an extra night of sleep in their own beds and do that last minute Christmas shopping before they got to take off and everything else. So it's good for us to get back home. But they, in terms of playing the game, it doesn't matter. We know it's a school day game. We know what those are like. This isn't new to anybody, and we want to win. We want 2 points.
There you go.
So it's important that we try to be ready to play when the game starts.
I love that. So when we talk to you next week, you will have already played. We'll know if you've won or lost, and it's a show and go cold jock game. Let's go get them, boys. Let's go.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Well, hopefully we'll be talking about a win and into Texas, and then getting ready for holiday hockey.
Be great. Best of luck tonight in Grand Rapids, and we hope everybody who is free and available can go see you play Chicago at Panther Arena on Saturday night, 6 o'clock face-off. Free T-shirts to the first 4,000 who arrive. Greeny, thanks as always for joining us, man. Have a great week.
Of course, guys. Thanks a lot.
John Greenberg, president of the Milwaukee Admirals. We call him El Jefe. We're getting close to opening the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. Drew and Hunter.
Someone and boys, I'm in trouble now. Ain't even trying to get out. So come on, baby, take me down, 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 yeah. Don't know what happened tonight. Don't know what happened last week. Don't know what happened to her, but she about to happen to me.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's going on, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. We'll start off back in 1930. The Baseball Rules Committee revises the rule book. Now when a ball bounces into The music complemented the action in Saturday Night Fever as perfectly as if it were written for the movie, even though most of it wasn't. In fact, other than Stayin' Alive and Night Fever, every song that appeared in Saturday Night Fever had been written, recorded, and in some cases released before the film ever went into production. This week in the year 2000, General Motors declares that it will begin to phase out the 103-year-old Oldsmobile, the oldest automotive brand in the U.S. Olds cars were the first to have decorative chrome trim and the first to have fully automatic transmissions. But a GM reorganization in the mid-1980s had drained the brand of most of its unique identity. And also this week in the year 2000, Republican George W. Bush claimed the presidency a day after the U.S. Supreme Court shut down further recounts of disputed ballots in Florida. Democrat Al Gore conceded, delivering a call for national unity.
And that's what happened. Thanks for listening to This Week in History on iHeartRadio.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1969.
Low-budget film Easy Rider captures the public imagination with a soundtrack by Steppenwolf, the Byrds, and the Electric Prunes. The Woodstock Music and Art Fair is held August 15th through 18th on Max Yasgur's farm in Bethel. 32 of the biggest bands of the day played to a crowd estimated at 500,000. The event is later released as a movie and album. And with the boost from their appearance at Woodstock, San Francisco band Santana hits the top 10 with their debut album, Evil Ways. The festival undoubtedly immortalized Jimi Hendrix and ushered in the era of large rock concerts and arena rock bands. Also in October, Led Zeppelin have their only U.S. top 10 hit when Whole Lotta Love reaches number 4.
I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, whole lot of love.
The Allman Brothers Band released their debut album on Capricorn Records to good reviews but limited sales. And 7 years after his last number one, Elvis Presley tops the charts with Suspicious Minds.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1969. Coming up.
I had a dream.
Drew and Hunter bringing it to you on this Wednesday in the Good Land. Hot Take Hump Day can still get us your hot takes. 877-794-1973 into the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Tomorrow before the program, I'll be stopping to see my friends at Game Day Men's Health. I think you should visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com, learn about the services that they offer. They can be life-changing. Peptide therapy, EPAT therapy. Peptide therapy is getting really popular. And of course, there's the standard testosterone replacement therapy. You lose testosterone as you age, and it can make you more tired, more sluggish. You can have mental fog, weight gain, a lot of problems. They can solve them. Sign up for your free, no obligation visit. Get that T-test and see if they can help you with their treatments. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. We are going to open the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge just a few minutes from now. We'll have our cocktail of the day. We'll talk about Pep's Draft House Pizza, and we're going to hear from Packers coach Matt LaFleur as we move forward as well. We're glad you're hanging out with us on this Wednesday. Drew and Hunter.
The Game. This is what's trending in Milwaukee now.
We start with college football. Wisconsin linebacker Tackett Curtis and junior wide receiver Joseph Griffin have announced their entries into the transfer portal. They join Cade Yakimelli, Atticus Bertrams, Remington Moss, Cody Raymond, and Kyan Berry Johnson as 2025 Badgers who aren't coming back in 2026. Basketball tonight, Big Ten game number 2 for the men's Badgers basketball team. They're at number 23, Nebraska. Game time is at 8 o'clock. Badgers women's hoops, a blowout win today over San Diego, 74-46, the final from the Kohl Center. They'll next play IU Indy on Sunday. And the baseball winter meetings are continuing for another day in Orlando. Slugger Pete Alonso has signed with the Baltimore Orioles. He gets a 5-year, $155 million deal to move over from the Mets. Football news, recently released Packers wide receiver Malik Heath has been claimed off of waivers by the Falcons. I'm Doug Russell on the Game Radio Network.
You are listening to the home of the best Packers coverage.
Packers. Defensive standout today, Carl Brooks, is with us on Packers OT. Carl, was that game as much fun to play in as it was to watch?
Man, loved that game. It was a great game to be in. Great atmosphere, playoff atmosphere, rival team at home. That was great. Words can't describe it.
Well, if for a dude from Lansing, Michigan, the cold's not going to bother you. But for a big guy and the way the game started to play out into the third and fourth quarter, how fun was it knowing the game was going to be won and lost by you guys in the trenches?
We love it. I mean, if every game can be like that on defense and defense hands, we'll take it. The weather didn't have no factor. Once you start running around, start playing ball, you really don't even think about the weather. But we love those type of defensive games where, it's win or loss is on us. So we love that. We love that challenge, and we step up to it every time.
We were talking about how you and some of the guys that came back to the roster today had fresh legs, or somewhat, but I don't know. Did anybody on the defense have fresh legs after some of those long drives that Chicago had in the second half?
It's about what week is it? 15 or whatever?
Yeah.
Never had fresh legs. And so it was just good just to be back out there with my guys, man. Just sitting on the sideline those 2 games that I was out and just watching them ball, man. I just wanted to be out there with them. Felt like I was letting them down. But, did my rehab. I'm very appreciative of my trainers getting me back so I could play at a full speed level. And it just felt good to be back out there with the guys.
Carl, when you guys have as much pressure going up against a quarterback that's as elusive as Williams on the other side, how difficult is it to contain it and not get too ahead of yourself? Because, man, it's got to be difficult. He feels like he's like a chicken and you're trying to just like an old boxer trying to train and catch him. He is so difficult to get back there. But in sync, you guys were able to really, really make it difficult for him on his spot.
Exactly. 18's a great athlete, man. He's very elusive. He can drop his center of weight to, avoid tacklers, avoid rushes. We had to be real disciplined in our rush lanes, be on the same page, and, keep him in the pocket and rally around him and, have great effort and chase to the ball. But big shout out to him. He's a very elusive quarterback that can, move all around and make the throw. So we had to just make him uncomfortable, get him off the spot, and really chase him down as 4 against 1. So, it worked out in our favor, and we got to watch the tape and be better. So those rollouts he did have, we can try to eliminate those as much as we can. But it was a good team win. We rallied around them, and we got them down when we were supposed to.
Carl Brooks joining us here on Packers OT. Drew Wilson, Bill Schmid. Okay, without Devontae Wyatt in the lineup, people wondered how you would handle this revamped Bears offensive line with the 2 new guards in the center. Those are some pretty big dudes, and they're pretty accomplished players. How did you handle that? How did you bottle up the running game?
I just want to start off by saying, man, I love Devontae Wyatt. Unbelievable teammate, unbelievable friend. But at the end of the day, I've been playing football, too, in the NFL for 3 years. And, I believe in my abilities and what I'm capable of doing. No knock to those offensive linemen. They're great players, veteran players, been in the league a long time, seen a lot. And to me, it was just about me, staying poised, playing my game, setting my feet in the ground, good hand placement, getting off, and making tackles. And, I was never worried it wasn't going to be no drop-off or nothing like that. You can't replace a guy like Devontae Wyatt, but, I'm going to try to fill those shoes as much as I can, help the D-line out as much as I can, and just be that player that, my team needs me to be. So I look forward to that challenge. And, I just take it one play at a time. I see assignment and do my job. Try not to do too much and just do what I'm supposed to be out there to do. And, I look forward to those type of challenges.
You are listening to the home of the best Packers coverage, The Game.
For a variety of tips, including a mortgage reality check to help homeowners safeguard their properties during the current mortgage crisis and in the future, visit housinghelpnow.org. That's housinghelpnow.org, a public service from the NFCC.
iHeartRadio soundtrack flashback.
The only song sanctioned for running upstairs is Gonna Fly Now. Bill Conti's theme from 1976's Rocky fits perfectly on today's workout playlists.
For more great movie soundtrack hits, check out Popcorn Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
I guess we are claiming the mantle as the breaking news show. Hunter just dropped our jaws with the Sharon Moore update at Michigan. But we got more breaking news. Hit the stinger, Hunter. We got a little stinger?
Yeah, we got a stinger.
Let's go.
We still got
Let's
the
sting 'em.
stinger.
Let's sting them.
This is breaking news.
Big news.
From Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
It's been talked about all week on the program. We spent some time speculating, but we can put the speculation to rest. The Packers will play the Ravens in their Week 17 matchup coming up at Lambeau Field Saturday, December 27th at 7 p.m. A Saturday night. Back-to-back Saturday nights with the Pack is what we're looking at. They're playing Chicago on the 20th on the road at Soldier Field, and then Lambeau Field, a night game. So our gentleman whose kid is going to do the T, it's a Saturday night game. He gets a prime time. So back-to-back prime time matchups for the Packers when they're playing two games in the national window at 325 in a row, coming off of the Bears and the Broncos.
Yep.
Then two games in prime time, and then who knows what's going to happen with the Vikings game. That will not be a primetime game.
Right. I wouldn't think so. So you've got 2 Saturdays in a row. When we had talked about this yesterday, we were saying, okay, the other possible game they would choose for this would be the Chargers and the Texans. What I didn't know is that they're also doing an afternoon game on that day.
Yeah.
That is Chargers and Texans.
Texans afternoon.
Yep. And then
Packers
and Ravens.
night.
They could not resist putting a Lambeau Field couple of days after Christmas
Snow
at
globe,
night.
frozen
Right.
tundra, the sex appeal. It always seems like Lamar and the Ravens get a Saturday night game. So
It
Lamar
does.
at Lambeau is going to be your primetime matchup. So back-to-back Saturday night primetime matchups for the Green Bay Packers. And, oh, man, my heart goes out to El Jefe and the Admirals.
Yeah, 'cause
or
we
anybody
just
who had
talked
anything
about-
scheduled. Like, that's a big night for them. That's the night they wanted. And now the Packers muscle in and the NFL comes in. And that, I mean, they'll have the TV on in the South Bar, but Pat McCurdy's going to be entertaining. It's a big night for the Admirals. And I'm sure a lot of people will just go to hockey, and a lot of hockey people don't care about football.
Sure.
But that's a tough competition. Anybody who has any post-holiday parties or concerts.
I had plans.
My friends who have who work in the concert industry, like it cuts into crowds. It is tough, man. It's tough to compete against
This flex
anything.
scheduling. I mean, I get why they do it, and it's fun to have. When you're a good team, it's fun to be, in prime time, right? The Raiders and Giants game that weekend is not going to be in prime time.
No. But here's an interesting wrinkle: is the Packers will be playing back-to-back on Saturday, so that's a normal week for them. The Ravens were already flexed into a Sunday night game against New England, and they're playing Sunday night and then Saturday, so they're on a shorter week.
You'd think advantage Packers there.
And that game at 7:00 on that Saturday, the 27th at Lambeau Field, is a Peacock game.
Yeah, so locally, I believe if you're in Green Bay or Milwaukee, you can see it on your local NBC affiliate. I don't know how they do that around the state. Usually
I believe
it's just
so.
Green Bay and
in those
Milwaukee.
two markets, I believe. Yeah, but otherwise you got to have Peacock. So yes, they couldn't
Peacock.
resist. They couldn't resist the clarion call of Lamar and Lambeau, and you saw it last week when it's dark out and if there's flurries, it's even better. If there's snow on the field, if it looks like it's cold and miserable,
if it's snowing
nationally, that just people sitting in Alabama where it's 60 degrees just go, I want to watch this. They lap it up.
The Packers are a Yankees, Cubs type of football organization and brand. So that's, you see Yankees and Cubs and Red Sox and Mets on the, Sunday Night Baseball tills all the time. That's what the Packers are in the NFL.
We are in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge, also the breaking newsroom. And our cocktail of the day is a vanilla cinnamon old fashioned. You take Central Standard bourbon or brandy, whatever you like, 2 ounces, 2 dashes of bitters, a half ounce of simple syrup, a dash of vanilla extract is where the vanilla comes in, a cinnamon stick, and the orange wedge. Muddle till your heart's content. Have a vanilla cinnamon old fashioned and tell me how good it is when you sample that. We're also serving up Pep's Draft House Pizza because we love Pep's Draft House Pizza. It is the best 14 varieties. Check them out at pepsdrafthouse.com. And when you're walking by that freezer section in your grocery store, go grab yourself a couple Peps. We said yesterday that you have to have 2 on hand at all times.
I think so.
I think that is it.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yes. And so it is 3 good. Pep's Draft House Pizza. TheCentralStandard.com, where you can learn about those delicious spirits crafted together by Evan and Pat and Jim Cantor and the entire crew over at Central Standard. And again, thecentralstandard.com. Order some merch. Go to the Craft House and Kitchen if you'd like. Buy some stuff at Festival Foods, Woodman's. You can get it at Total Wine. Buy their products. Bring them to a party. You can't go wrong.
No.
With Central Standard.
Bring some to your
products.
Packer Ravens party. I bet a lot of holiday parties are going on that night.
The 20th and both nights. It bookends it.
Yeah.
It bookends the holidays with us. So we'll be, again, working for you. Billy and I will be working for you on Packers OT late into the evening following both games on the 20th and the 27th. We know the Packers now play 7 o'clock against the Ravens. That answers that question. Another primetime game for the Packers. When we come back, we are going to hear, speaking of the Packers, we're going to hear from head coach Matt LaFleur in his press conference earlier today. We're in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. It's Drew and Hunter.
You would do to another, I would stay true. I would stay true. I would stay true. Too afraid to ask you who you're gonna see when you're home tonight. And we'll have to cut this and tell my friends that you're out of my life. Yeah, I can't focus when you're around me. Oh no, your lines are all blurry. So if you can tell me why do I feel so unwell? Where do you go when you leave me? I don't wanna go with nobody else. If you can stay, babe, don't go see no one else. Tell me, where do you go when you leave me? Don't want you to go with nobody else. Jump in my car cause you say you can't drive. Are you making moves, am I just your ride? Are you looking at me? Yeah, I'm looking at the road cause I don't wanna see the truth. Yeah, I can't focus when you're around me. Oh no, your lines are all blurry. So if you can tell me what.
Milwaukee, home to beer, brats, and baseball. The best fans on the planet known to man. And who could forget those sweet, sweet powder blues? A symbol of blue skies, bat cracks, and ball hawks. To honor that, the team is introducing a blast from the past for the upcoming 2026 season. A blast so big, it might turn you blue. Introducing the brand new powder blue alternate road uniforms. So recognizable, it'll have you reminiscing on County Stadium and Harvey's Wallbangers. Just ask All-Star flamethrower Jacob Mizarowski. How are we feeling, Jacob?
Pretty good.
I must say you look outstanding. And now you too can don the blues, just like Jacob. Available now at your local Brewers team store. Go Brewers.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1970.
Don't keep me waiting here. Leave me to
The Beatles released the Phil Spector-produced album Let It Be. It generates 3 number-1 hits, Get Back, Let It Be, and their final number-1, The Long and Winding Road. The Kinks song Lola, about a romantic encounter with a transvestite, makes number-2 UK and number-9 US. In July, the Stooges released their second album on Elektra Records, Fun House. And British band Mungo Jerry are number 1 in the UK, number 3 in the US with the single In the Summertime.
Have a drink, have a try. Go out and see what you can find.
In August, Eric Clapton releases his first solo album and scores a top 20 hit with his cover of J.J. Cale's After Midnight. Neil Diamond scores his first number 1 with Cracklin' Rosie. September of 1970, Neil Young has a top 10 album with After the Gold Rush. War, an anti-war protest song by Edwin Starr, tops the charts.
What is it good for? You tell me. Say it.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1970. Coming up.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rick Springfield to get some insight on his latest release, Rocket Science.
It's a guitar-based record for sure, and I love big hooks, and it's not a country record at all. It's a rock and roll record, but it does have some country elements.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from Rick Springfield and all your favorite artists.
We call it Wagertainment.
All right, place your bets.
VSiN every night at 6. Presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest on Fox Sports 920.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
VSiN, the sports betting network. Presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest every night at 6.
Well, listen to this. So I can bet better. How's that?
On Fox Sports 920.
Continuing the Wednesday edition, Hot Take Hump Day edition, Drew and Hunter bringing it to you from the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge, thecentralstandard.com, the website, to learn about those delicious spirits, and the Craft House and Kitchen, and the Craft House and Kitchen, which is located downtown Milwaukee, and the new one that's going to open Concourse C of Mitchell International Airport. Stay tuned for details on that, on their new production facility. Visit that website, and if you can't make it to the Craft House and Kitchen, you can buy merch on that website, and that Central Standard merch is top-notch. As the kids would say, it's fire. So visit their website. We're also munching some Pep's Draft House Pizza, the official pizza of the Timeout Sports Lounge here with Drew and Hunter. We're having some fun with that because it's 3 M's good. And we will continue to celebrate our friends at Pep's and Pep's Draft House Pizza. Earlier today, Matt LaFleur met with reporters at 1265 Lombardi Avenue, and we thought we would bring that to you now. Here's the coach as the Packers are preparing for a big matchup against the AFC leading Denver Broncos, 3:25 kickoff on Sunday afternoon in the Mile High City.
About Denver's defense on Monday, what's the starting point? I'm trying to solve that through.
It's a hell of a question. I think everybody's trying to figure that out right now. They do a great job. Vance does a hell of a job putting his guys in position, and they're just not really a weak link out there. When you look at their front, their backers, their back end, they've got players across the board. I mean, the sack numbers are pretty crazy. Their run defense is pretty crazy. So you couple that, then you got a legitimate shutdown corner. I think the safeties are excellent. McMillan does a great job. Moss does a great job. So they got a lot of great players, and they put them in great position, and they go out there and they play. I think there's a lot of similarities when I look at our defense in regards to the style of play, how hard they play, how hard they finish and tackle, and so it's going to be a great test for us.
Did you see some things during that joint practice session last year in Denver?
I did. They kind of put it on us pretty good. And it was, it was a new. Or I shouldn't say new, but were they all new there then last year, or Vance? No. But, I didn't know a ton about that defense at the time. And yeah, they were legit.
Why has Bo Nix helped win games when a lot of young quarterbacks struggle?
Well, I think it's a byproduct of just the collective. I think he's an excellent quarterback, and obviously he does a hell of a job in those 2-minute situations, and they've had quite a few comeback victories. I think 9 of the 11 games they've come back in the fourth quarter, and so I think that obviously deservingly so, he gets a ton of credit for that. But I also think that just when you combine that with the rest of the guys that he has on his offense, obviously Sean does a hell of a job calling plays. He has for a really long time, and then the defense and special teams. I mean, it's just a really good football team.
Is there anything you can do to acclimate to the altitude there?
We had our performance staff talk to our players today, and there are certain things that you can do, but ultimately it is a circumstance, and you got to try to best prepare your body to go out there and handle the elements.
What makes an offense good against the blitz?
It just depends. I mean, situationally, I think having a good plan, number one, for our guys, but also, you got to be able to react. And I think that's what you saw, just that you've seen a little bit, just thinking about this past game is, when teams are going to dial up, whether it's a zero blitz or whether it's a fire zone, whatever it may be, how do you react to that? And I think, fortunately for us, our quarterback has responded in the right way.
How much of it is on, receivers and O-line to do their part against that?
Oh, it takes everybody. I mean, you're not going to beat pressure without everybody doing their job. It always starts up front, making sure that you're on the right people. Then you got to make the blocks, which isn't always the easiest. Then the receivers got to sometimes beat man coverage, sometimes just be in the right spot in the right time within the timing of the play. Backs have done a great job for us in protection throughout the course of the season. And we even utilize our tight ends in some of those protection schemes as well. So it is about the collective, everybody doing their 111th.
Hey, Matt, in Detroit, you were pretty aggressive with the fourth downs, and obviously that worked out really well for you. At the end of the half last week, it seemed like you let the game come to you more, didn't use your timeouts right out of the 2-minute warning, and that worked out pretty well for you. How do you gauge when it's time to be aggressive and when it's time to maybe pull back a little bit more?
I think it's all the flow of the game. I think a lot of that will come into play. I think generally speaking, we want to be aggressive. I know that doesn't always come to fruition, again, based on the flow of the game, but typically that's how we like to operate.
So in the term of the flow of the game at the end of the half, where you're starting the third quarter with the ball last week, are you just, no matter what, the Bears are not touching it here again, even if you got to settle for the 3, you want to not give that extra possession?
Well, we actually did give them the extra possession because we scored too quick. But so they got the extra possession there at the end of the half. Is that what you're referring to?
I mean, you'll take the 7 and give them 30 seconds, I'm sure. But is that in your mind as far as, okay?
It is. And sometimes it's hurt us, to be honest with you, because you're always thinking, I don't want to kick off, and I don't want to put our defense back out there. But that was a situation. Every game's a little bit different, but we actually ran the same play back to back, just a little bit differently. We saw that they dropped Christian Watson, and then the next play dialed it up again, and Bo was running free. So, but I would say every game's a little bit different in regards to how you're going to attack and, just the flow of the game.
What is it about the flow of the game? Like, what are you looking for specifically?
Well, I would just say, how is your defense doing? Who are you playing? How is their quarterback doing? How are you holding up in pass protection? There's just a lot of elements, a lot of factors, I think, that you're constantly weighing. What is the score of the game? Who's getting the ball at halftime or out, to start the second half? So I think there's a lot of factors, a lot of variables that go into just some of the thought process, each and every week.
You've mentioned after a few games the number of possessions that you've had on offense. You're toward the bottom of the league as far as total possessions. Is that partially by design on your end?
Not necessarily. No, it's just, I try not to get too hung up on that. In regards to offensively, you're doing whatever you can do to try to score points. Defensively, you're doing whatever you can do to try to stop the opponent from scoring points. I think it's a little bit of a byproduct of kind of how teams have been playing us, quite frankly, in terms of just the number of rushes. Every time that after a play, that clock's moving, time is ticking away and you're going to have less possessions. And then conversely, if you're having long drives on the offensive side, it's going to limit the number of possessions. So, but it just is, it's been kind of a weird year in that regard. It seems like there's like 4 possessions a half, and you just got to try to maximize them.
So it's maybe more so opponents are trying to quote unquote take the air out of the ball to limit.
Well, I don't know necessarily if it's that. I think that's just we've defended a ton of runs, and I think that's kind of a byproduct of our pass rush. And so they feel like that's the best way to attack us.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur earlier today. Drew Olson, Hunter Baumgart in the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. 52 of the 53 players participated in practice today, with Josh Jacobs just working out on the side and riding a bike and doing other things. He still has, I guess, some effects from that knee bruise he suffered at MetLife Stadium, and I don't think it's a major concern, especially the way he carried the ball Sunday. But if he did have a concern, he should visit my friends from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, OAW. OrthoWisconsin.com is the website. They took care of my hip replacement, and I cannot recommend them more highly than I do. Ask me. I'll show you the scar. No, I won't show you the scar. It's in a compromising place. But they did such a good job. Everything was so smooth. Love this place. Love what they're about. Clinic in Johnson Creek opens in 2026, but visit OrthoWisconsin.com if you have any orthopedic needs, a knee, a hip, an ankle, your hand, wrist, carpal tunnel, spine, back. They are the experts. They are the ones everybody in the state should go to. If your child has an injury playing sports, they have some pop-up walk-in clinics that are top-notch as well. Learn all about it at orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Badgers playing against Nebraska tonight. The first true road game of the Big Ten slate for the Badgers. Unbeaten Nebraska, 23rd ranked Nebraska. And earlier today, we had occasion to chat with the voice of the Badgers and our good friend, Matt Lepay. Here's that conversation in case you missed it. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well. Do I look tilted on the old screen here?
Yeah,
do a little bit there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not quite sure how that happened. It just all of a sudden you clicked over. So just kind of, we'll do it this way.
We'll spin our heads this way. That's actually, it's kind of
pretty
cool.
Perfect.
It's kind of surreal.
It's a different. Yeah, I'm doing planks.
You're doing planks. You're Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling.
This is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a classic.
Let's just roll it.
So, big game tonight. First true road game for the Badgers, although that one they played in Utah was a road game, right?
Yes.
For all intents.
It did. Yeah, it was. This is going to be a pretty good atmosphere. Nebraska is interesting. It's never won an NCAA tournament game. They've gotten there, and they've had some good teams. They've had great moments, and they're 9-0 and ranked for the first time in about 7 years right now. So this is the people here will support you. They've always had good atmospheres at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and I think
when Nebraska basketball is good, it's got to be just like from the heavens, because it gives you something to do in Lincoln in the winter, other than women's volleyball.
It does. Yeah, women's volleyball is pretty good, and it gives them a diversion from wondering what's up with football, because football is still the king here, even though they haven't been all that for quite a while. A lot of people wondering what Dylan Raiola is going to do. There's rumors out there, and because we got to have rumors about everything, especially in college football with free agency 24/7, 365. But yeah, I do think it's a good arena. And Fred Hoiberg, the former Bulls coach, among other stops, he's got something going here with this program. So I think this is another good test here for Wisconsin, coming off a really, a pretty convincing win against Marquette on Saturday and Northwestern before that. But this will be a little different environment from what they face this season.
I was telling Matt, I was telling Hunter that both teams coming off victories against their in-state rival. Nebraska took care of Creighton, and Wisconsin took care of Marquette. I didn't realize that was the biggest point spread. It was the biggest win in the series for Wisconsin since 1952.
Yeah, it was a while. It was it was just a dominant game. I thought briefly Marquette got it down to 11 in the second half, and they weren't making free throws, but they never got it to single digits. Wisconsin got it to double digits for good with about 6 minutes or so left in the first half, and it was a real choppy start, both sides. It'll be interesting to see Marquette. Will it get better? I mean, the two freshman guards in particular with James, Nigel James, and Adrian Stevens, they've got a little something there. Chase Ross had a bad day. I don't know how many bad days he's going to have. Probably not very many. But Wisconsin, it played really well. And I think after being humbled out in San Diego against TCU, The last two games they've cleaned up the mistakes from that game, and we'll see how that carries over tonight. But I think we have seen how good Wisconsin's good can be. Now it's just a matter of having a lot of nights like that.
This was one of those games where John Blackwell scored 30, but I couldn't take my eyes off Andrew Rohde and what he was doing, making shots and making plays. And I know there's going to be nights like that. And man, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, the guy scored 30 and he's the story of the game, but I liked watching the kid from Brook Central.
Yeah, he had a game, a 9-assist game recently. The way he defends. I asked Greg after the game, what have you learned about Rohde? I mean, you brought him here for a reason, and he just sees him as someone being even better defensively than what he thought they would be. Now, being at Virginia, particularly 2 years ago under Tony Bennett, you're probably going to learn how to guard people. But Greg joked that was not maybe a strong suit of Andrews coming out of high school and in the early portion of his college career when he was at St. Thomas. And then, it's an easy highlight when you hit a logo three, right there in the Culver's logo. That was a pretty deep shot against Marquette. So that'll get you the instant highlight. But he just seems like, guys, he does a little bit of everything well. Guards, defends, distributes, and he shows it, obviously showed the ability to shoot it. He's a fun player.
Of the backcourts you've seen, I think the Badgers are going to give a lot of teams matchup problems with the duo that they're throwing out there.
Yeah, and really the trio at times, because they can run Rohde at the point a little bit, and then you got Boyd with just a different gear. He just has the ability against a lot of teams in situations just to break them down off the dribble, get to the rim. He can get to the free throw line, as does Blackwell, because he's taken about 8 foul shots a game so far, John is. So, yeah, they've got some versatility there, and John being off the ball, more, that's been good for him. But they have all three of those guys, can put the ball on the deck and can create some problems.
What's the outlay tonight for the European Union aircraft carrier that they have? Their big dude. How do you combat the big dude from Nebraska?
Oh yeah, Berka Büyüktüncel from Turkey. He a transfer from UCLA, but it's his second year in Lincoln. He's a big dude, about 7 rebounds a game, and they list him at 6'10". He looks every bit of that, about 245. He's been really solid for them. Doesn't shoot it well. He might take an early three, but that's not in his strong suit. Kind of like this camera not being a strong suit, looking kind of weird by the minute. But the guy to watch, I think, for Nebraska is Rink Mast.
That's the kid.
It feels like from the Netherlands. He's the guy who Wisconsin faced him a few years ago at the NIT when he was at Bradley, and he played pretty well in that game at the Kohl Center. He missed all of last year. He was rehabbing from a knee injury. He had surgery in May of 2024 and just took a red shirt last year. But the guy's good, man. He's had 18 points a game. He can shoot it. His 55%. He does everything. 3+ assists, 6 rebounds. Very obvious how much Nebraska missed him last year. They went on, they played in so if you're going to keep playing, play it to win it, and they did. But it makes you wonder what could have been had Rink Mast been available for the Huskers last year.
That's the guy. It's funny because when the way college coaches think and stuff, like Greg gets his guys like from Minnesota and stuff and from anywhere. But I remember I talked to a coach one time and he's like, I'm so sick of getting beat by little white point guards that can shoot threes that I'm going to go recruit one. And it's like the copycat nature of this. It's like,
Sure.
Oh, we got to go get a guy from the Netherlands. We got to go find a guy from, I'm sick of that guy.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, you think Lithuania, like New Zealand, Australia, the Netherlands, but this guy has 28 double doubles in his college career, so he's capable of having those really big games. But he has been big. A couple other guys transferred from Iowa. The bad news is Connor Receivers out here before in their game a couple weeks ago against Winthrop, an ankle injury. He really hadn't gotten into rhythm shooting the ball, but he's capable of doing that. So that's been a hit for the Huskers off the bench. But coaches really Greg McDermott said that Coach Craig said he was a difference maker in that game. Get into you defensively. He's efficient with what he does at the offensive end. This guy, Sam Hoiberg, has been really good for Nebraska.
John Blackwell has, on the Badgers side of things, what have you seen from him this year? Obviously, he comes back, and it just seems like he's kind of raised the ceiling on kind of this team as a whole. He could be personally as well after this season.
Yeah, it's been interesting, Hunter, listening to opposing coaches the last couple of games. Chris Collins, Coach Western, after Saturday's game, Chuck is not lying. Coach has been in the NBA, and he puts Blackwell in that category. But as Chris Collins said, he's always been mature. He was really good 2 years ago as a freshman, but he's just steadily improved. He went through the evaluation process with the NBA folks this past off season, and the 3-point shooting has returned for him. He was really good last year, but the shot wasn't as consistent as he would like. And right now he's like 43% from the 3-point line. He plays with such control.
Yeah.
There's a confidence about him. I mean, he's a really humble guy, but he's there's quiet confidence. He's really it's been fun to watch because he was one of those under-recruited players, kind of a classic Wisconsin kind of players, somebody who was overlooked by many coming out of high school. The Badgers liked what they saw out of him and liked what they believe he could be. He certainly has the path to be every bit of that. Those are the kind of guys who have starred in Wisconsin in the past. See how you continue to do that. You've got to use the portal. You've got to find other ways. I think as long as the Badger program gets guys really developed, they've been overlooked by some of the other power programs. They turn out to be really good.
Talking to Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers, live from Lincoln, Nebraska. Tip off tonight, 8 o'clock. Matt and Butch, Prince of Popcorn, will be courtside. I hope they have a lot of popcorn in Lincoln in the press room. Just saying.
He's going to be hungry. He just flew in today. He was they went over to see Sebastopol. Their high school team played last night, which is about an hour and a half drive on a good day for Butchie, but the big snowstorm there, it turned into a long journey. But they did a thing for Blake, his son, and they raised a bunch of money, and he was sending me some photos of it last night. Blake talking to the team before the game, and they had beaten a team that they hadn't beaten for like 17 years. So I told Butchie, I said, well, you're going to need to go back. Obviously. Yeah. Well, not you, but Blake. You're going to want Blake back there. So, it sounded like a really good night. So it was, but yeah, he came in a little bleary-eyed about noon today. But yeah, he's getting his beauty sleep, air quotes. So he'll be ready to go tonight.
He's going to be hungry. When the Badgers did their shoot-around, did Connor Esigian pop by, or will he wait to tonight to make his reacquaintances?
He did not. They keep that separated. Wisconsin does its thing, and then Nebraska. That's just how it is in college basketball. But we did catch up with Jeff Levering and Sean Morris, who will have the BTN game tonight. So
that's fantastic.
Always good to catch up with those guys.
So the basketball coaches are trying to avoid a Connor Stallion situation. They're trying to avoid anybody seeing your sets and your walkthrough. And
years ago when Dick Bennett was coaching, they went in. It was the shoot around or maybe a practice the night before at Assembly Hall. Bob Knight was still at Indiana, and they go into the arena, Assembly Hall, and apparently there was some information on Indiana, what it was going to run. Some of it's like play sheets, so to speak. And Dick was like, we can't look at that. We've got to get this returned and whatever. And so they take care of it. One of the Wisconsin managers goes back to the Indiana people, and then eventually Knight comes out and says, here's our plays. Here's what we're going to do. here's whatever else you need. But those two guys always had a great relationship, Bob Knight and Dick Bennett. But you don't see too much mingling in shoot-arounds in college basketball. Team A does its thing, gets off the floor, then Team B comes in.
That sounds about right. Every time, Matt, that I see, if I surf through and see what the Nebraska side is saying, this, what the opponents, what their message board or their fan sites or their own university, UWBadgers.com. I go check it out, and everybody talks about the Badgers in late game situations and that they make free throws, and it is uncanny. What is in the water in Madison? Why are the Badgers so good when other teams struggle so much at the line?
Well, yeah, this has been they're in a stretch. We saw this last year, and we're seeing it so far this year. It's not overly scientific. The guys who get fouled the most are good free throw shooters, and they've had years where that sounds like duh, but they've had some years where that's not been the case. Ethan Happ was a really, really good player here, at 2,000 plus point scorer. He struggled at the free throw line. Nigel Hayes had a year where he really struggled, and he got fouled a fair amount. So that's had, John Tonje was outstanding at the free throw line last year. You had Blackwell, and those guys now, Blackwell, looking at it right now, Blackwell's 82%, Nick Boyd's 83%. Those are the guys with the way they play, they're going to get hacked a fair amount when they're driving into the lane and going to the bucket. So a lot of times it's just as simple as that. The guys who get there with the most frequency are really good free throw shooters. And, they had a school record last year, almost an NCAA record, just shy of what Villanova did a few years ago. And they're not far off that pace right now, 80% through 9 games.
It's uncanny. And yeah, to your point, I do remember Ethan Happ, because that affects end of game situations where it's like, do we want him? The other team will guard everybody else to make you throw the ball to the guy they want to foul. And
yeah,
it's
it was like hack a Shack or hack a Hap.
Hack a Hap.
Ethan was so good here. You talk about somebody who made the very most of his abilities, because most of his scoring came within an arm's length of the rim. But he was so versatile with what he could do, be able to go to his offhand, but free throw shooting was just something that, as a Badger, really gets into your head too. You try a little bit of everything. There were several years ago, many years ago now, a player named Ryan Evans, who was a good, solid player at Wisconsin, but struggled at the foul line, and eventually it became a jump shot for him. Just something to try something a little bit different. And it's amazing how that's a lonely place when you're struggling there. Knock on wood, they've been pretty good there the last couple of years, and hopefully that'll continue.
Is Hap still playing in Europe? Is he still making
that's a good question. As soon as I brought him up, I think he is, but I'm not. Yeah, it's been a while since that I've tracked where he is.
We'll have Hunter look it up, but
he's playing.
He was a fun guy to watch. It was a good interview. Just a good kid in general, and that makes me think, Matt, about, again, there's something in the DNA of the program, and I'm not making any comparisons or anything, but when you watch guys like the Kaminsky improvement and ascension, you watch Ethan Happ develop from a skinny kid who can barely hold on to the ball to a stronger force that other coaches had to game plan around. And then it makes me think of like Nolan Winter, and again, not the same player, but you see his arc of improvement and confidence and strength, and you see what he brings. And there are some programs and some coaches where guys show up and you don't see them get better. You see them just be the same.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think in this era we're in now too, you have guys who may only be here a year. And obviously with Wisconsin, they have got, Braden Carrington, Nick Boyd, Andrew Rohde. Those are 1-year guys, but you could still see them improve from the summer workouts or early October to the end of the season. But I do, that's been a hallmark of this program, going back many, many years and multiple coaches ago. Certainly under Dick Bennett, they got better. Under Bo, they got better. And with Greg, the same thing. You really hope as an old school college basketball fan, you're likely going to need to use the portal. And that's great. You bring in the right players and the guys who fit in the locker room and have the skill set. But I know that fans of Wisconsin basketball, they enjoy those guys who they watch become something better than what they walked in, better than what they were when they walked in. And Nolan Winter, who's always had the great mindset, but now he's got more bulk to be able. I mean, he's not a burly guy, but he's got more strength to be able to mix it up. And he's almost averaging a double-double so far this season. And his three-point shot still isn't there. And he's got a good shot. It'll come around. So the scoring will continue to get better and better for him. But guys like him and Blackwell, and that's where you hope, like an Austin Rapp is a sophomore. He's a transfer from Portland, but he could really get better and better. And then a guy like Will Garlock, the freshman out of Middleton, who's playing, he's getting some minutes already as a freshman, to watch his growth. And then eventually Zach Kinzinger, who's planning to redshirt this season, but he's someone that you really want to track and see what see what kind of careers they can have, because I think they're all very promising.
Yeah, it was fun watching Kinziger in high school, that unbeaten team that he was a part of, and those.
Yeah, he could score it. He could definitely score
That
it.
was pretty cool.
Ethan Happ plays in Spain.
All right,
there you go.
He's getting a check, and then Decker's over there too, isn't he? I think Decker's in that.
Yes, I believe he's in Spain too.
Yeah. See, a lot of dudes playing.
And still tweeting a lot. Still tweeting a lot.
Yes, very active in the Wisconsin sports scene.
Very active. Yes, I go to him for my Brewers updates, and my occasional
Mhm.
Bucks commentary and stuff. Yeah, Sammy's going to end up in this business with us, I think. You know.
Yes, he is.
He and
wants
his
to.
wife should have a show, a
Right.
podcast, or he should be doing. You know, he should be doing game analysis. He's got a lot of opinions. He's
Frank's doing some of that now. Out with the I think out with the Suns, or I don't know if it's with the G League, maybe, but maybe a little bit with the Suns too. So with Kaminsky, he's so smart, and he can be funny. That's something I think that he'll be really good at. And I know Sam will when he's ready to get into that field.
And they both have wives in the industry, which they're going to be a push
That
in
helps.
that direction. That
Yes.
helps too. All right, Matt, I want to shift gears a little bit. We talked to Jim Polzin at length about the college football playoff and stuff. Do you have a strong opinion about Notre Dame and the squawking that went on when they released the 12?
It seemed like they just picked up their toys and went home. Didn't want to play in a bowl, right? Like that was a kind of a little bit of a hissy fit. It seemed that way. I get the argument because I hate to diss on Tulane or James Madison, because could they win a game? Yeah, they could be like the Boise State over Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl back in 06 or 07, whenever that was. Can they advance all the way through? Could Notre Dame have been one of those teams? Yeah, I think. But you look at who Notre Dame beat in that long winning streak. There weren't a lot of great teams that they beat. But I think the argument is, to me, you either just have automatic qualifiers. Maybe Notre Dame gets in a league, probably not, or just take the top 12, or if you expanded the top 16, whatever they are in your rankings, those are the teams that are in. Forget about AQs winning your league, because the ACC champion didn't make the playoff. The one ACC team is an at-large in Miami, which is probably the best team in the league anyway. But the way that's structured of the ACC, Duke ended up winning the ACC championship. So maybe one that makes sense is just have the top 12 as it is now in the CFP rankings, and those are your teams. And then they're probably going to expand it anyway, because Notre Dame is a team that I think most would tell you has the chops to get to the championship game, but it's not going to get a chance to do that.
Is the new trend going to be they're going to beat the drums to get rid of conference championship games altogether and just start like a play-in and advance and make that everybody talks about, they're not going to get rid of that TV revenue. Playoff games are also pretty lucrative.
They can find a different way to do that.
Yeah, they're pretty lucrative to play playoff games.
The Big Ten championship game had almost as many viewers as the Ohio State Michigan game. It was like 18.4, and that's the game before was like 18.5. So they had a monster number. Fox did for this, but that was 1 versus 2. I mean, you got the big draw, Ohio State, which is always going to get a lot of eyeballs, and then the great story of Indiana. Could they win it? And yes, they could, and they did. I think it depends, Drew, to me on how much they expand it. I mean, if Tony Petitti gets his wish and they go to 24, I think we can say bye-bye to conference championship. If it's 16, I would imagine they'll still do it because of the networks like that. Fox loves that primetime Big Ten championship game. ABC loves the SEC championship game. So it's part of it. I get frustrated because the Saturday games were really good. The story of Indiana. And went into Big Ten for the first time since 1967. Then I flip it over to the ACC game, and here's Duke winning the ACC. Like, this is pretty entertaining. And then, 12 hours later or 15 hours later, when the final CFP rankings come out, everybody's going ballistic, like everybody always does. Like 2 years ago, Florida State got aced out in the 14 playoff because, they were undefeated, but their quarterback got hurt. So they're not going to give us a very good TV show. We can't put them in the top 4. Be like Jordan, like the Packers not losing again, and then Jordan Love gets hurt the last game of the regular season, and the NFL playoff committee says, we can't have you because we don't think you can win it.
That's what it would come to. Yeah.
With all and kind of going along the same lines of the conference championships, the bowl season in general. I mean, you have high class, obviously Notre Dame headlining, but you have other teams. I think Iowa State, one of them, they're just not going to bowl games. And it's not, only because they're missing the playoff, but this transfer portal. I mean, you've obviously seen some Wisconsin guys already entered that portal. I mean, that is going to continue to take a toll on what we knew as bowl season.
Yeah, it's different. It's the bowls as we knew them are done, because even the teams that are playing, you're going to have a lot of guys who aren't off of those teams. But I've said this a lot. The bottom line is people still watch these games. But you're right. Sure. Baylor's out. Iowa State is out. Obviously, Notre Dame pulled out. So you got teams that, are legitimately bowl teams, and not the 5 and 7 because your APR is good and you have gaps to fill. These are teams that are 8-win teams, 8+ win teams. I think as long as people tune into these games, they'll have them, even if it's like a split squad spring training game in a lot of cases, which it's going more and more in that direction. But people love to watch football. They love to wager on it. Check with Billy on that. Billy, allegedly. Check with Billy to see if that actually happens. He might know.
Allegedly.
Because the numbers for a lot of these games are still, you get a few million to several million for these non-playoff bowl games. You may not have many people in the stands, but you have eyeballs watching. So,
absolutely.
However, on your iPad, on whatever, as long as people tune in, they'll probably have most of these bowl games moving forward.
That's right. Hunter alluded to it. We're getting the news about Cade Yakimelli, Tretch Kekahuna. Tretch Kekahuna was going to leave last year, and then they talked him into staying. Is there any hope for that, or we just figure that just expands the shopping list in the offseason?
Yeah, well, I think maybe you play it through, because Jeff Grimes talked about when you're the offensive coordinator last year when he came on, he said Tretch is just the kind of guy that you need for what they wanted to do. And obviously, I get it where Tretch is coming from. You didn't get the ball in your hands very much. Got a lot of jet sweeps, but I think he'd probably like to catch a few more passes. So there's the financial component, I would imagine, but there's also like, who's my quarterback, and are we going to have more opportunities? So those are the kind of things I get when you're in the portal right now. Maybe some players close the door on the school that they had been at, but maybe in Tretch's case, you leave the door open, but not having spoken to him about it, it's hard to say. But a guy like him, I like, because I think you get the ball in his hands, he could do some things with it if you get him the ball in some space. But I can understand where he might be frustrated with an offense that just has not been able to throw the ball well at all for a while.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Matt, I can't envision a scenario by which I will visit Lincoln, Nebraska in the month of December. But if I ever do, I want to hang out with you and Butchie and Lev.
Absolutely. There's no snow here, guys. It was like 53 when we landed yesterday. It's 40 right now. So it's almost balmy. You need an umbrella drink here.
I saw it might be 60 in Denver for kickoff on Sunday.
Packers are looking at 60. They're wearing their winter whites, and it's going to be 60 degrees in Denver. No snow. Crazy. Have a great call tonight, Matt. Thanks for joining us today. Say hi to Butchie and Lev for us. We love those guys.
Will do. All right, boys. Take care.
You bet. We love our Wednesdays with Matt Lepay, our correspondent from Lincoln, Nebraska, where he's hanging out with Butchie and our buddy Jeff Levering. Badgers against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Tip-off tonight at 8 o'clock. Looking forward to their call. As we look forward to their call, it's time for our last call. We will close up the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge next. Last calls on tap. It's Drew and Hunter.
I don't know who mixing tequila with high noon. Don't know how long she's been moving on. Maybe 5 weeks or 5 minutes, but it can't be too long. And we did that what's your name thing. Where you from and what's your favorite drink? She said, shut up, come and dance with me. And now she's singing, girls just wanna have fun at the top of her lungs. Don't even know she about to wreck someone. And boys, I'm in trouble now. Ain't even trying to get out. So come on, baby, take me down, 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 yeah. Don't know what happened tonight. Don't know what happened last week. Don't know what happened to her, but she about to happen to me. She about to happen.
You are listening to the home of the best Packers coverage.
Packers defensive standout today, Carl Brooks, is with us on Packers OT. Carl, was that game as much fun to play in as it was to watch?
Man, loved that game. It was a great game to be in. Great atmosphere, playoff atmosphere, rival team at home. That was great. Words can't describe it.
Well, if for a dude from Lansing, Michigan, the cold's not going to bother you. But for a big guy and the way the game started to play out into the third and fourth quarter, how fun was it knowing the game was going to be won and lost by you guys in the trenches?
We love it. I mean, if every game could be like that on the defense and defense hands, we'll take it. The weather didn't have no factor. Once you start running around, start playing ball, you really don't even think about the weather. But we love those type of defensive games where, it's win or loss is on us. So we love that. We love that challenge, and we step up to it every time.
We were talking about how you and some of the guys that came back to the roster today had fresh legs, or somewhat, but I don't know. Did anybody on the defense have fresh legs after some of those long drives that Chicago had in the second half?
It's about what week is it? 15 or whatever?
Yeah.
Never have fresh legs. Yeah, so it was just good just to be back out there with my guys, man. Just sitting on the sideline those 2 games that I was out and just watching them ball, man. I just wanted to be out there with them. Felt like I was letting them down. But, did my rehab. I'm very appreciative of my trainers getting me back so I could play at a full speed level. And it just felt good to be back out there with the guys.
Carl, when you guys have as much pressure going up against the quarterback that's as elusive as Williams on the other side, how difficult is it to contain it and not get too ahead of yourself? Because, man, it's got to be difficult. He feels like he's like a chicken and you're trying to just like an old boxer trying to train and catch him. He is so difficult to get back there, but in sync, you guys were able to really, really make it difficult.
Time to close down the Central Standard Distillery Timeout Sports Lounge. Drew Wilson, Hunter Baumgart. Time for our last calls. Hunter, you're up first.
All right. Well, first, I will go with kind of the baseball discussion we had earlier today. The Mets losing out on Edwin Diaz. He goes to the Dodgers. Pete Alonso signs with the Orioles today. And just the fact that just because you have money doesn't mean your organization is necessarily run well. You'd thought that David Stearns, what he did in Milwaukee, would transfer over to New York, and that would help the Mets organization succeed with the resources they have. But man, oh man, after missing the playoffs last year, they lose a couple of stars. Will be interesting to see what they do in 2026. And so I'm interested to see about that. And we'll see if the Brewers do anything here. Winter meetings wrapping up in Florida.
My last call, I'm still reacting to the blockbuster Hunter hit us with that Michigan has fired its coach, Sharon Moore, for inappropriate relationship with a staffer. And that happens a week after the National Signing Day, and the portal will be opening. And holy cow, that is a bombshell in the Big Ten that the Maize and Blue going to be looking for a new coach. That's not normally
Crazy.
What you see. Want to thank Matt Lepay for joining the party. Thanks, Matt LaFleur, as well, for joining our party. And Adam Pawlak, Chef to the Stars. Tomorrow on the program, we got our Wish-a-thon with our friends from Make-A-Wish, Wisconsin. We'll be raising some money and bringing some awareness and doing some good deeds. So look forward to you joining us at 2 o'clock tomorrow. As our friend says, make good choices.